What do you get when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman?
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Roo.
Welcome to Couch in the Roo, presented by Skyman Premium Cannabis, inspiring everybody to look better, love better, feel better, just be better every damn day of their lives. And our Tuesday night show, brought to you by our friends at Muskox High-Quality Flannels. Visit gomuskox.com to learn more, to purchase your flannel, like the one I'm wearing today, and you can use the promo code CAW15, that's CAW15, sorry, CAW15 for $15 off for Couch and the Rube listeners. Jason, how you doing, brother?
Hey, buddy. Did I miss anything? I didn't really see much sports over the weekend.
You're supposed to,
football games.
supposed to lie about that because a
Why?
lot happened. We got to sound
understand
educated.
that. I can't. Well, that's impossible for me. But yeah, I didn't. You know, it's hard to go into bars in Nashville and say, "Hey, can you put the Lions Jags game on? Hey, can you put Big Ten Network on?"
It is one of the worst fucking sports towns in America. It's just awful. And no offense to Joe Rexroth, who works there and makes a living off writing about sports. But it's awful.
I had a great time. I ate like Graham Couch a couple times. We ate like kings. It's a beautiful city.
It is. No, and I've never been, and I'd like to go. It's
You
ridiculous.
have to,
Oh yeah, I've never actually
Get you
gone.
some cowboy boots.
Yeah,
Cowboy hat.
I am all hat and no cattle, but I love the idea of
I put
that
some
look.
boots on. And I was like, I can't pull this off.
I think I could. Like the summer I was a intern in Springfield, Illinois, and I lived out in the boonies in Petersburg, Illinois, in central Illinois with my college roommates' parents. They were legit. I mean, everybody out there was a country boy.
So you're saying that you would try to pull them off?
Yeah, I wore a cowboy hat sometimes.
Oh,
yeah.
come on, dude. You got to wear a cowboy hat.
Yeah, I will do it
We
on
got
the
to
show.
pull some money together and get you a cowboy hat.
I think I still have one. It's straw, but I think I still have it somewhere. I'll look.
That
is
is
a little beat up. Yeah, no, I can't. I couldn't do anything.
But I felt bad. Literally, you feel like you're out of the loop. You're gone a couple days, and I'm like, wait, Michigan. I was watching Michigan State on my phone a little bit, getting the reaction from people, and it was just caw all over the place. Well, so basically, what I'm saying is, I have one take.
We'll get to your one take. I'm excited
you.
about it. As long as Carmen Electra's there, you know, it's
she's so bad at Twitter. Like this OnlyFans thing, it's so sad to see these like actresses and stuff.
I know this.
My hands behind my head tweet like, all right.
I have the ultimate, by the way, the ultimate spite bet country now. It's not just a team, it's a whole fucking country that I'll never visit. I'll never visit Spain.
Wow.
And
Spain.
This was actually going to be a hot take, but I ruined it. It was not going to be my first one, but I'm just so fired up. They're finally out of the World Cup. No team cost me more than Spain's 2 losses. And if you followed me on Twitter, you could tell today that there was clear spite in my tweets. They cannot score. They're like this. They've got like mid-major athletes that pass the ball really well and have no aggression or to their creativity. And it's frustrating as hell to watch. And it's, you know what they are? They are the episode of The Simpsons that explains soccer that everybody makes fun of. That is Spain. Holds it, pass. No, I mean, they lost 1-0. They dominate.
Isn't that soccer, though, in a nutshell?
No, it's them. It's Spain. It's the fucking
Sounded like
Spaniards.
You were just explaining soccer to me.
Yeah, good riddance. Done with, they're out of the World Cup. I can get my financial life back now.
So was it worse than the game that the United States had where they only had 2 shots on goal?
Oh, by far. Yeah.
It's worse than that?
Well,
I figured that would be worse.
It's hard to know because I was so much more invested in the U.S. result. But the U.S. game was more entertaining. Absolutely.
With 2 shots on goal.
Correct. There was more drama, more build-up. It was more open. This game, Morocco was, hunkered down and playing defense, and they're really good defensively. I mean, if the U.S. was that good defensively, they'd still be around. But
when is it over? No, I'm really asking.
Couple weeks.
Jesus, it's still 2 more weeks?
Yeah, well, I mean, you got to give people like 4 or 5 days between games, so they're only in like the quarterfinals.
So the people that are there, you have to stay the whole month?
Well, you can if you want.
Qatar?
Yeah. Qatar, or whatever it is.
Your country, Qatar? Anyway,
yeah,
all right.
Yeah. So
good for you. 2 more weeks of this shit.
Yeah. No. You know what you don't need in guitar, but you need here is a muskox flannel, by the way.
Good one. That's
a
segue.
good segue. Okay, let's dig into our hot takes. I'm going to go first because you have one, so we might as well parse yours into the.
Go ahead.
This is a brutal stretch for Michigan State fans, and I think
my team.
What is happening with Michigan football is not only making life miserable for MSU and football with MSU football and everything else, but it's bleeding into basketball too.
Wow.
What I mean is, and I'm not. This is not spin. I'm just saying how MSU fans, and I can feel it on the Twitter account. I can feel the angst and the frustration. MSU basketball fans would be frustrated regardless. But there is definitely something to the fact that when Michigan football was being this good, they thought, well, at least our basketball team is playing with Gonzaga, is beating Kentucky, is looking like there's something. This is going to be a fun winter. And then Michigan football goes out and beats Ohio State. Simultaneously, Michigan State basketball is dealing with foot injuries. They're not playing as well. And now they drop 2 straight to Notre Dame and Northwestern. And you can just feel the depression hanging over Michigan State fans right now. And it affects everything. And it affects the tone of it. And I don't blame them. This is the absolute worst case scenario for an MSU fan. It's to have a football program that you're not sure is headed in the right direction. There's a lot of uncertainty. To have Michigan at an all-time high in football with a legitimate chance to perhaps win a national title. I think Georgia's better and they probably will win it, but legitimate chance. And then even though I still think Michigan State basketball has got a lot of things going for it as a program, to have what you thought was your saving grace as a winter, have this hiccup and to lose to 2 teams like Northwestern and Notre Dame, whose brands aren't that good, who aren't teams that you would think they would lose to after the way they started the season. It is just, I get the misery. And,
So what you're saying is that the Michigan State basketball program is taking too much on their shoulders because of the football program.
Well, that was always going to be that this year. Once football went to shit, basketball needed to do well. There was no doubt. And that's not, they should do well. I'm not, that doesn't give basketball a pass. I'm just saying the general tenor of what people are feeling right now has everything to do with what's happening with Michigan football. And they need something. And nobody's giving them anything. Like the second even MSU hockey looked like they were a story, and I still think they are a story, and they play Michigan this Friday, and that'll be interesting. But, Minnesota ranked number 4 with a bunch of NHL draft picks comes to town and just wallops them. 2 straight games. Like nobody is giving them anything right now, and I get it. I get the frustration, and in no aspect of anything is it going well. I mean, I can only imagine what it's like for the Dominics of the world, the Eric Schultzes, to look at Jim Harbaugh right now and to look at that program and to see him everywhere and how they feel. And in fact, I know how Dominic feels. He DM'd me the other night and it was in a pretty depressed state, and I tried to spin zone.
And he's a Bears fan.
Personal spin zone setting. What is your one hot take?
All right, so I got here earlier than Graham Couch, which shocks no one, but Jeff Heward was in here, and he told me he went to the Lions game. Now, in Nashville, we did go to a bar to go watch football, but Tennessee was playing Philadelphia, so there's no way in hell. I mean, I can't really walk up to there and say, hey, can we put the Lions-Jags game on? Maybe I don't have the balls anymore because I'm not drinking, but Jeff Heward went to the game and told me it was the most dominant performance he's ever seen in all his years of watching Lions football. And isn't it great that I was in a bar ready to watch said game and I missed it? Here's what's going to happen. People should just root for my death because I guarantee you, as soon as I die, the next year the Lions will win the Super Bowl. Guaranteed. The most dominant game Jeff Heward has seen in his lifetime watching the Detroit Lions, and I missed it. What is happening? And Jared Goff throwing 300 yards. I mean,
Little concerning some of the Jared Goff storylines, though, about the future of the,
what do you do if all of a sudden you back into a playoff situation and Goff, I mean, I want to see him do it on the road.
You got to make those tough decisions because you don't want to all of a sudden have the team that, because the Lions look like they are on the right path. You don't want to all of a sudden 2 years from now have a squad that looks like the Eagles right now, except all of a sudden you realize you don't have the quarterback, and now you got to figure it out, and then you become the Colts, and then you miss your window. You don't mess around. Jared Goff has this season to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he's the guy. If there is any doubt, he is a veteran who's been discarded by one team, who's had a chance. If there's any doubt at the end of this year, I'm not saying you move on after this year, but you draft somebody this year. You don't screw around.
Let me see it December 18th at New York when they play the Jets. If Goff goes in there, plays well, 280 yards, and what the thing is, you have to kind of accept it at some point. I'm happy that he's playing well. Yeah. I'm excited to not have to tweet out his picture and put ass above it. I don't want to sit there and root against my favorite team, but if we're going to sit there and say, do I really think as a football fan Jared Goff is going to take the Lions to a Super Bowl? I mean, he did it with the Rams, but they had to have a great defense. So, like I said, Jeff Ewart was talking about the 85 Bears when he was talking about the Lions. I'm like, what crazy. The fuck is happening here?
Yeah.
And of course I don't see it.
The thing about Goff and the thing about the NFL is you do get these windows, right, where you're trying to build something and you can have a great let's take the Seahawks and the early Russell Wilson era, right? Legion of Boom.
Mm-hmm.
And a quarterback who was okay and did some good things and became a great quarterback for a while later. But they were able to build that defense and do what they were doing because he was on that rookie contract and all that stuff. And then later on, when they no longer had quite that defense, they were able to be a contender year after year because they had the all-pro quarterback. To me, in the NFL, where you are going to have a period of time where you wind up in a little bit of salary cap hell, ultimately as an organization, until you have the quarterback who can carry you, you do not stop trying to find the quarterback who can carry you. And so Jared Goff doesn't have to just be a guy who you can win a Super Bowl with. He has to be a quarterback that can carry you. Otherwise, you keep trying to find that guy. Maybe you don't get rid of Jared Goff, but you keep trying to find that guy.
But you have to talk to the fans and tell them, listen, we're going to draft a guy. We're going to groom a guy. If you want to groom a guy and let him sit for a year and we have Jared Goff again, okay. But if we're going to extend Jared Goff 5 years, I'm nervous.
Yes, you don't extend Jared Goff. You got to have the balls to keep Jared Goff, play him, and sit a rookie, which I don't think is a problem. And then if Jared Goff next year wins a Super Bowl, you got to have the balls. If you think he's better than the rookie, you have to get rid of the rookie. You got to have the balls to keep making the right decisions.
Yes.
Look what they did in Kansas City with you had a situation where Mahomes was sitting, and they knew they had the guy, and you got rid of a quarterback. I think they won 13 games. And
traded up to get him.
What was Eric? What's his name? What was the quarterback's name? Who was the Chiefs quarterback for Mahomes?
Drew Bledsoe.
Fuck you.
Steve Bono.
You're gonna kill me.
Steve DeBerg.
Oh man, that's a good one. But
Joe Montana.
Chiefs quarterback. Let me Google here. Give me some Hoff, please.
Wait, let me find.
I thought we were doing Feliz Navidad.
Hold on a second. I don't think I have it. Hold on.
What? I refuse to do the show.
Why don't you write something? Why don't you write something, huh? Why don't you write something?
That's really disappointing, by the way.
Yeah, we'll get it someday.
Okay.
Before Christmas, I promise.
This is December. This is Feliz Navidad time.
All right.
It was Alex Smith.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for that.
Common name.
Yeah.
Easy to forget.
Yeah. Anyway. I think they were like 13-3 with Alex Smith, 12-4, something like that, 11-5. They're really good,
and that's great though if you're okay with 13-3. But it's about the playoffs. I don't really give a shit if you win 13.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So if he were to lead the Lions to their first Super Bowl ever and to win a Super Bowl, and then you take that rookie and you say, you know what, we're going to trade you because we got our Super Bowl. I'm okay with that too. It's about winning a Super Bowl and then about sustaining a team that's capable of competing for one year after year after year after year. And if Jared Goff can prove to be that guy, then I'm good with it. He just hasn't done that yet just because he had a great game against the Jaguars.
And I'm still concerned about Dan Campbell and clock management and all that stuff. But
it was dominant. It was fun to see. It was fun to see a team this late in the year for the Lions play that well. And yeah.
Dead inside. I'm back. I'm dead inside.
By the way,
dominant game.
One of the great things, if you're into dressing like a cowboy down in Nashville,
all right,
is flannel. Flannel with a cowboy hat and some boots.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. In fact, maybe the hottest woman of my adolescence was that music video of Madonna in a flannel. If she had a,
What?
You remember that? I wonder if she was, I don't know. We'll fix that in post. But if she had a muskox flannel, would have been even better. By the way, new products from Muskox, lined flannels and beanies that are made from Kiviute, I believe it's pronounced. Kiviute, I believe.
Sounds accurate.
I looked it up. Of Jasper. And look, I think it's cool they know where the fibers come from in Muskox flannels. It shows their commitment to wildlife. Kiviute fibers are hand-combed, okay? That means the fiber is not shorn or pulled, but combed from the fleece whenever the season is ready for it. Really cool thing. It's labor-intensive and seasonal. So that's why they're seasonal offerings right now. They have holiday flannels that have recently arrived too. Marine plaid, red plaid, dust blue, navy plaid, ocean blue. Not cheesy holiday patterns, just great stuff for the winter and the holiday season. Go to gomuskox.com. That's GOMUSKOX.com and learn more and purchase your flannel there. There is no better way to support us, to support the show, than by supporting our sponsors. And if you take care of Muskox, they'll take care of you. I'm telling you, these flannels are fantastic. They're durable. They're comfortable. I absolutely love them.
I wore it in Nashville.
There you go.
One of the bartenders said, "Nice shirt," and Teresa Lake was looking at her. I'm like, look, you're fine. Don't worry about it. So Muskox can make ladies look at you.
If you go to gomuskox.com, you can use the promo code CAW15. That's CAW 15. Just for Couch and the Rube listeners for $15.
If you didn't tell people how to spell CAW, do you think they would get to it? Or?
I don't know. I've had a couple people.
You didn't say CAW.
I've had a couple people use K's when they've written it in.
Okay.
So I just want to make that clear. You know, it's with a C.
That makes sense.
Is what the CAW is. Okay, my second hot take. I still think Michigan State basketball is going to be fine. That may be the hottest take I've ever had, based on some of our other hot takes. They just need to get healthy. And the argument whether Tom Izzo should have gone into the portal to get another big man or wing or whatever you think he should have gotten, and then there's a real argument, like a 1 year big man, like I don't know how many years left the kid at Iowa State has who came from St. Bonaventure, but that guy would have been fantastic. That's a fair criticism, but there's nothing to be done about it now, right? So you can keep saying he should have done that, and he probably should have. And I think the one thing he might do at some point, I don't know if he'll say he should have gone into the portal, but I think he will admit tactfully that he should have addressed their depth if this continues.
Don't coach my
and that's something you're not getting out of Mel Tucker right now, just sort of that, admitting a mistake. But we'll see if it is one. We'll see if it is. They just need to get healthy. Like, I still think.
Is that the sole reason why?
Yes.
They're losing 2 in a row? Okay.
I think Malik Hall and Jaden Akins, they just changed them athletically. They changed who that team is. Malik Hall does so much for just cerebrally and so much of their flexibility and versatility, and he does a lot for Mady Sissoko. You start to realize how much, Mady Sissoko is not an instinctual basketball player. He's not an experienced basketball player. He needs Malik Hall there with him. And you realize the effect he has on the game. Their defensive numbers without Hall and without Akins mostly too, but are so different. It's like 7 percentage points at 3-point shots and 2-point shots worse since they lost those two guys. I think Akins will help a little bit because they had a nice little cohesion thing going with Akins and Tyson Walker and A.J. Hoggard before Akins got hurt. And he's not doesn't have the conditioning right now. His offensive game isn't in great flow. He missed 11 of the last 13 weeks. And then you've got to hope, though. The thing is, Malik Hall's not going to be back till probably after Christmas. How long does it take him to get back into the groove? How long does it take, before he is what he was before he got hurt? And that's important because those Big Ten games in January come quickly. But I do believe that they were a genuinely good team when they played Gonzaga, when they played Kentucky, when they played Villanova for most of that game. I think that was a good team. That was everything I thought they would be. I still think the team I watched, I don't care what's happened with other results, the team I watched would be a team that had a shot at a Sweet 16, a team that was top 4 Big Ten. I still believe that's who they can be if they're 100% healthy. They have zero depth, which you can absolutely argue is a mistake. Their depth, on the court when they're all healthy is created through their flexibility and the fact you can play Hall at multiple positions and a lot of guys different places, and they've got depth through that. But they don't have it in numbers, so they can't have injuries.
Is it possible to go through a season like that, though?
That's a great question.
100%, no injuries? I don't think so with this team.
Here's the other thing to think about. People talk, wow, they should have brought in a bunch of if everybody comes back next year who can come back, and I mean, not counting Joey Hauser, I don't think will come back for another year, but he technically could apply. But if everybody else comes back, and I think Tyson Walker would be the guy I would guess right now is the most 50-50. True senior, may want to go play pro ball. Who knows what he'll decide. Because I don't think his size be tough to be an NBA guy, but have a long, lucrative career overseas for a guy like that.
Can Cohen Carr jump on the team right now?
Yeah,
is there a way we could do that?
So next year's class, though, which is incredible,
can't wait for that guy.
As good as probably the Winston Bridges class, I would say. That class, if everybody comes back, there's really only one open scholarship right now in terms of more than a 1-year guy. So yeah, that was something else to keep in mind. Doesn't mean they couldn't have brought somebody in. Doesn't mean they shouldn't have used the portal. And ultimately, if this team doesn't make the NCAA tournament because they can't stay healthy and they don't have the depth, that's going to be one of the great miscalculations by Izzo ever, because that streak to him matters a ton. And so when people say this is going to cost them a tournament bid, and some of our hot take listeners will say that in a little bit here, I think Izzo knows the perils of that too. Like, that streak matters to him as much as the Final Fours. That's everything in the consistency to him. When your floor is, no matter what, you're always in the tournament, that's a hell of a floor. For me, who may have to sit in this chair and wear a man bra if they don't get there, there's also other concerns. Do you have another hot take?
I don't. I just had the one line.
You had the one. It was a good hot take.
Oh, it was bad. I'm sorry.
I'll use my soccer one as one. We'll move on to the listener hot takes. Let's jump into those.
All right. Eric Schultz, of course, up first. Number one, don't tell me MSU doesn't get more foot injuries than the average program. This is outrageous. 2, this just isn't a very good basketball team. They lack high-end talent and have too many sequences where guys look lost. They'll be incredibly frustrating again. 3, while Mel Tucker does deserve some leeway with the Zoom class, right now just 2 of those guys are actual Big Ten football players. If a year from now that number's grown to just 3 or 4, it's 100% fair to judge him harshly. For that. It was ranked 45th nationally, not 80th.
No, that is a fair criticism. The idea if you don't develop guys, even if they weren't great players.
There's so much downtime between games. I mean, fans have to talk about something, and everybody has an opinion that's red, right? So there's going to be blowback from it. I understand what he's saying, to wait a little bit before you want Mel on the hot seat for sure. But people are going to react that way after a terrible loss.
No, what he's saying, though, is that if he's saying the opposite here.
Oh.
He's saying if that 2020 class does not produce more than just 3 or 4 Big Ten players, he does deserve to be judged harshly.
Yeah, all right.
So I appreciate the analysis.
Yeah.
Look, it's the jury's out on Mel, and there's a lot of interesting stuff happening with other coaches and the transfer portal. He went from being the sort of cutting edge transfer portal guy to now there's a fella named Deion Sanders who looks like he might be the guy, right? All of a sudden you're not the only guy who can do that well, and that's not the way Tucker's going to win anyway. He's either going to win it or not if he builds a program in the class he just had, in the 2022 class, 2023, and 2024 freshman classes. That, to me, determines whether his tenure has a chance.
Dominic next. Number 1, Tom fucking fucked the fuck up. This isn't just a injury bug. He's the greatest and blah, blah, but he fucked up. It's okay to say it. We all do it every day. But say what you want. He let his arrogance get the best of him, and you're seeing the results play out in real time. 2, Graham famously claimed that he had to be careful with his words because everyone has a mother. Does that include Hunter Flexboy Dick and Balls? Because there's no way someone gave birth to that on purpose. 3, I'm dead inside. All my teams are AIDS. The only sporting event worth a fuck is Eric Schultz pissing on Graham's soccer takes at 2 a.m. Yeah, bonus take. What the fucking fuck is this shit? Whatever. Please read the last sentence in Yoda from Harbaugh. You have to read all this from Harbaugh?
I'll just repeat the last sentence in Yoda. If you could read this part from Harbaugh.
I'm not going to comment on whether I think it's a felony or not, or whether it should have been charged as a felony or not, Harbaugh said. But I think if you do your homework, you're going to realize that this is, you can't compare this to low-hanging fruit. You think that's out, and just encourage you not to pander to the Twitter sphere and really hate the haters, you know?
Anyway.
Is that your part?
This is me. Okay. The final part is.
Wait, what a ramp up.
Yeah. Hater tots. Oh, wait. Hater tots.
Do you think
hater tots, haterade drink they do? I can't fucking do it. I can't do it backwards. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it. I apologize.
Was worth it.
That was not good.
Again, why we don't do Cameo.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. So, that's the Harbaugh basically talking about Mazi Smith. And, it's
how many bullets did he have in the car? A lot?
I don't know the extent of what he had. There's lots. I don't know all the details. Like, you listen to some people and it's like he had magazines sitting next to him and he had a gun in his lap at 9:30 a.m. strolling through a neighborhood like, oh my God, what is this? And you listen to other people and it's just like, well, you just had some extra ammunition with a gun. Like, that's not the biggest deal in the world. Ideally, you want to have people driving around with guns and you wouldn't be speeding through neighborhoods, whatever. But also, my other problem with all of this, if you're not outraged by other people driving through your neighborhoods at a certain time of the day and speeding through your neighborhoods with a gun in their car, and there's lots of that. You just go to your neighborhood app, your neighbor's app on your phone.
You can see their gun?
Well, no, you just know what's going on. Like, if you don't have equal outrage, like...
Sit in your house and mind your own business.
The outrage is how Michigan handled it. And there's no question if they had just suspended him one game, a lot of this is different. If they sit him right away. Now, I get there weren't charges, and that brings up what's happened, and people would have started poking around earlier, so there's some stuff there. But whatever. They could have handled this a little bit differently, and they wouldn't be going through it now. It'll be interesting to see as reports come out if they get pressure to actually suspend him. I don't think they will. I don't think it's going to.
After the season?
I don't think it's going to happen at all. I don't think they will. I don't think they'll suspend him at all.
Maybe next. Number one, sure. New Matty Sissoko is a good conventional basketball player, but bring back old Matty. The chaotic, flailing, accidental fouling guy was fun. 2, the seeds of discontent with sports coverage and the rivalry grow within Graham. Andy Shore better watch his back for 2025.
For those who don't know, that's the Lansing mayor. That's always my
watch your ass, Shore.
Threat that I'm going to run
couch.
From there. Yeah. Yeah, definitely
was a big deal because he was a huge guy, and I just broke my chair.
This rivalry story has definitely been the least amount of fun. I shouldn't say that. There was a stretch during the Nasser ESPN stuff that wasn't a lot of fun to cover MSU sports. There have been a few stretches, but this has not been fun. And it itself would not push me to run for mayor, where I'd probably get walloped and be unemployed after that. But
I'd vote for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So you and my mom.
Politician.
You and my mom. Yeah, it'd be good. It'd be great. I don't think most people would vote for old Matty Sissoko, which sometimes still shows up a little bit. But maybe entertainment value only.
Plus-size softball dad. Number 1, it's not much fun being an MSU fan right now. 2, D'Antonio shit the bed recruiting the O-line at the end of his career. And 3, great column on Sunday. Subscribe to the LSJ. It's worth it.
Thank you. Plus size softball dad. Appreciate you.
Going to give him the gift card now or later?
No. It was a good effort, but the column was on. It was on MSU's football program and the recruiting rankings of the roster and the guys who started their final game against Penn State versus Penn State starters and then Michigan starters on October 29th. And it just kind of showed, because the roster is not in a great place. That's the biggest issue. And the 11-2 years reset expectations in a certain way that made it difficult. But Michigan State had 3 4-star or top 400 recruits on the field in that Penn State game. Penn State starters, 22 starters, included 17 4-stars. So if you want to know why they look overmatched, there are some realities to that. Now, James Franklin does not get the most out. I mean, most teams don't have 17 4-stars. Michigan has between 12 and 14 4-star / top 400 recruits wherever it gets cut off. So Michigan doesn't even have Penn State's talent just based on recruiting talent. And that's not everything. We saw it with D'Antonio and everything. But it does point to a disparity that Michigan State I mean, still has to figure out, and it's why I think he cannot afford to settle in this recruiting class. Like, it's better. You have time to recruit. You can still recruit to February. You can recruit the transfer portal. You don't take kids that you don't think are going to be difference makers for you. I mean, you don't just fill out the recruiting class. If you wind up with a class of 15 kids, but they're 15 you really like, in the December signing period, so be it. Like, to me, there's no place to actually settle.
Couch on fire next. Number one, this is becoming a sad MSU sports year. Even the hockey team fell on their face, and the Manzier on Graham would be a bad topper to the season. 2, Portal Palooza. Just crazy, the coverage of this. And 3, it's just amazing the Rams draft pick may be much higher than the Lions' own pick.
It's actually fun, though, because you get to root for a team to lose that's not your own team.
Right. And
You know
the
what I
Rams
mean?
decided Baker Mayfield today. So that solidifies that their pick's going to be really good.
Yeah, I mean,
unless you trust Baker Mayfield.
What was the end of that Seahawks game I was concerned about. And then I did get a little annoyed that the Broncos found a way to lose because you want them to win at the end of the Ravens. But, yeah, it is kind of
why did I want the Broncos to win?
Because they were –
I hate Russell Wilson.
Right, but the Broncos right now might wind up with a worse record than the Rams.
Oh, I see what you're
saying. I'm just saying the other teams that are near the Rams, you want to have a game or two ahead of them. That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
Jake Hagala next. Malik Hall takes so much pressure off Joey Hauser. Malik Hall is a bucket on the block. Malik Hall has the ability to lock down the opposing team's best player on defense. MSU needs Malik Hall. He's kind of like Ted Lasso's second ace.
Totally agree. And I do think that Jaden Akins plays a massive role in things, but I think Malik Hall is connected to more of it for this particular team. And it's also, the Joey Hauser thing is real. The minutes he's playing, what he's being asked to do is more than he is as a player. And, the only good thing about this injury to Malik Hall and how it's going to dampen this year for him, and I think he probably would have come back next year anyway. It wasn't like he was going to the NBA based on what he'd done. But I think this more than likely assures that he's coming back for a fifth year. And he is the type of player you definitely want back when you bring in that young group. And you got a veteran, a fifth-year senior, Malik Hall, understands the game like he does around some of those young guys and some of the guys coming back. I think that would be a big win. But they needed that foot to be okay. And you don't. I mean, I think Michigan State fans are well aware of foot injuries. And I want to get into Eric Schultz's first take, which was that where he said there aren't more. He said, "Don't tell me MSU doesn't get more foot injuries than the average program." I've called around on that a little bit.
Liz Frank.
I called Liz. No, I've called around on it, and it is nobody I've talked to thinks it's anything abnormal. And these are not people associated with MSU.
Was it Tom Izzo?
No, they're like people who are trainers and in the medical field and
so every team deals with foot injuries. Consistently for decades.
Well, if you look around, there's a lot of them. Oh. And in fact, let me pull this up. Give me some.
I got the Hoff. I got the real Hoff.
Oh, nice. Oh yeah, here we go. Woo! Oh, that's the best. That is so fucking good, man. That's so good. Okay, I'm good. Thank you. This is just and this is not somebody whose name I can use, but they just said, I don't believe it's specific to MSU or their program. The impact and the stress on the bone receives from repetitive jumping, running, decelerating, cutting is significant in the sport like basketball. He's a basketball-specific trainer. And I'd assume if those players were on another team, the same injury would have occurred. He said, often the muscular structure of the person is unable to properly absorb these forces, and the bones take on the load. The muscles in the foot are so small, and the bones are so small. The Achilles tendon is there to take on a lot of that impact. Anyway, but that's just one text that came. These are conversations I've had because I wanted to know.
Is that a real doctor?
It's somebody who's a trainer on a basketball team. Yeah. So I mean, it's. I just wanted.
Did they say anything bad in that? Why can't you tell people who it is? It's weird.
Yeah, but just because when I originally wanted a candid conversation, they said, "Is this between you and me, or is this for that sort of thing?"
Oh,
so
yeah.
I did. I'm sure if I said, "Hey, I really
People
need this,"
are so nervous today, man.
well, so they some of these people are not really supposed to speak for their team too. If you're and those are tough jobs to get different places. So it's Anyway, you're not supposed to. So that's that. Did I answer the actual question from?
God, I hope so.
Yeah. It was on Malik Hall and Jack Huckle. Yeah.
The Uper next. Number 1, the MSU basketball team's formula for success is simple. Nobody can ever get injured, tired, or have foul trouble. Should be fine, right? 2, the Heisman Trophy is a joke, right? We can all agree on that.
Yes. Just got to stop taking it seriously.
What do we do to make it better? Like trim who votes?
Yes. Well, if you really want to, to me it would be like get rid of my vote and Ebling actually is a good voter because he's somebody who watches a lot of football. Like that's
Doug
what
Warren,
you want.
I would trust Doug Warren.
Absolutely. You don't want any beat writers. Nobody who covers a single team should have a vote. Yeah. Because we work 12-hour days watching one game mostly. Don't see a lot of the other stuff.
How do you guys do it?
It's not hard. I'm just saying we don't see a lot of the other stuff. I just did my Heisman. I did my Heisman vote. It was the most ignorant vote of anything I've ever done.
You're just guessing. You're listening to what other people say. You're looking up stats.
I look up stats, I look highlights, I read some stuff, but it is.
But I went to an Akron game, and you're right, because I just didn't. I feel like I didn't get any football that day, but the Michigan State game. So it would be impossible to give yourself a good vote unless you're going to sit back and watch film of all these guys, maybe. But these guys do that? You don't get paid for it.
And the other thing is, it becomes a quarterback's award. Like I'm a Biletnikoff Award voter too, which is the top receiver.
Bragger.
For like 10 years. No, but I've never voted. They keep sending me this shit. I never vote because I don't have any idea. I mean, I had to.
And the one vote you should have is the AP Top 25 college basketball.
That
vote.
one I should have, and I don't have it anymore. I should work to get it
backwards.
Back. There are some receivers I really liked, but I don't know. The top one. There's a kid at SMU I really like. Is he the top one? I don't know. It's not. Yeah. To me, I don't feel qualified, so I don't. With the Heisman, I keep doing it for some reason, just because I think other people are dumber than me, and I'm usually somebody who doesn't put all quarterbacks in, which also drives me nuts. The idea that a quarterback every year would just be the winner is stupid. That's not the best.
You
player.
have to vote. It's in your Twitter bio.
It's not.
Oh,
I'm one of those who does not put in my Twitter bio.
The Uper next. Number 1, the MSU basketball team's formula for success. Oh, wait, I read that. Professor. Number 1, putting coaches on every college football playoff TV show to lobby for their school is lame as hell. I've never seen such poor used car salesman BS. Bonus. Nobody needs more than one take and a bonus each week. Only submit the one you feel strongly about. # producer.
Thank you, Professor. If you do have one great hot take, it'll be high in the show, I'll say that. Although I do say that now, and there's some really good ones low in the show. You got to have balance.
And we preface it with, we appreciate all of you.
We appreciate all of you.
We just don't want to be here for 4 hours reading the same stuff.
No, but if you only have one great take, and I cut some takes in here because somebody's second take was really good, and I thought their third take dragged on, and then it didn't. It took over their second take. Like, if I see something that jumps at me, like, wow, that's a really good take, then I sometimes trim your other stuff. So if you have one great take, that's always great. Yeah, it is weird, like, to have these coaches in front of the college football committee making their case. That shouldn't be part of the process. And then you get Nick Saban, who sitting there basically saying, well, we would be favored. Like, if you said to him in a press conference, hey, you're a 38-point favorite against, William and Mary this week when they play that 1AA, he'd bite your ear off. And now he's using the Vegas lines to disadvantage. I thought that was kind of weird.
But isn't Saban going to do that regardless if he's on TV or not? He's going to call the committee and schmooze.
He should sell his program. That's what he's really paid handsomely to do. And
right.
I think, he probably, why would you not do it? Everybody would do that in that circumstance. They should. What I'm saying is they probably shouldn't give him the airtime to do that.
Andrew Gauthier next. Number 1, the Lions have turned the corner. It just might be too late to make the playoffs this year. 2, the Lions will be the best team in Detroit in 2023. 3, if MSU Hoops needs every member of the team to be healthy all year to play good ball, Izzo done messed up. And bonus take, the Lions finale at Lambeau will be for a playoff spot. Not sure if I'm ready for that stress right now.
That would be fun, though. Man, that would be fun.
Just have a pre-roll from Sky Mint, one of those 10-gram bad boys from Christmas, and just sit back and what happens, happens.
I'm telling you right now.
Enjoy it, I guess.
I don't know if it's a what's happens. There would be so much. Would you be able to?
I have to treat it as a what happens, Couch. You understand this? My heart can't handle this shit. I can't handle the basketball team, the football team, and then the Lions making the playoffs. Holy hell.
It's still a long shot because, at 5-7, the schedule sets up so. I mean, hold on. Let me look at the Lions schedule 1 second. Woo! Okay. So the Lions this week, and we'll have Harry Gagnon on a little later. We're going to pick the games after the hot takes. But the Lions are 2.5-point favorites this week, home against the Vikings, which is insane because the Vikings are like
that should tell you all you need to know about football.
Yes.
Or the Vikings on the road.
But so after that, they have the Jets on the road, which is a really difficult game. But they close with Panthers, Bears, and Packers, and the Packers probably playing for nothing without Aaron Rodgers on January 8th, right? So all those are they could win those last three. To me, to be in the hunt, though, they're probably going to need to win at least one of the next two, minimum. And so we'll find out this week. If they win this week, then to me, you start looking at that stuff a little more
you'd
seriously.
Be a 10-win team, absolutely. I'm just happy this team is playing well. The players like the coach. I don't know. I feel content with where it is right now. If they make the playoffs, it'll just be, I don't know what I'll do. It'll be crazy.
By the way, if we get to that point, Jason's not kidding. Skyman is your friend. It's always your friend if you got in-laws, relatives around the holidays. But if the Lions are playing for a playoff bid, do not let Skymint pass you by. Go to skymint.com for location information and daily specials. They get emailed right to me. There's some great deals going on through the 12th, for example, starting tonight through the 12th. Buy two, get one free, all sorts of mix and matches, some really cool stuff there. And Skymint delivers to most communities within Michigan. And if you go to skymint.com, you can find out if they deliver in your community. There are 3 Skymint locations in the Lansing area alone. They're very helpful, very knowledgeable. You don't need to be somebody who's a giant cannabis connoisseur like the Joe Ingles of weed over here, Jason Nick. You can be somebody like me who just appreciates a good edible and a great night's sleep and some pain relief.
And a Hallmark movie.
And a Hallmark movie. Snowed in Christmas, by the way, is the best Hallmark movie of maybe all time. That would be if you wanted a movie about hope, redemption, and travel journalism on Christmas morning. Snowed in Christmas. Look it up. It's worth your time.
Mr. Neurotic Pants next. Number 1, sports fans are impatient and very few have a long view that survives a tumultuous game or season. 2, Harbaugh's first season saw botch kicks cost games. Now Michigan will win a natty. All rebuilds look like fuck-ups early on. And 3, there are no moral exemplars in Division I sports. Spare me.
This is our Hopcat hot take of the day. Hopcat, the best damn beer bar, world-famous cosmic fries, mouth-watering, award-winning burgers, including the Peyton Thorne burger, and each location, carefully curated craft beer list with local partners. And it's a hell of a place to watch a college basketball game or a bowl game or an NFL game as well. If you move down from football, they've got the games on. I was at a Hopcat with Joe Rexrode, by the way, to watch Tennessee's season flame out and Hendon Hooker get injured against South Carolina.
Dropper.
Yeah, throw Joe in there.
Yeah.
Joe was hammered, but he held it well. I shouldn't say that, should I?
It's the second time you mentioned that.
Is it? Yeah. I didn't mean. He but the beer was great. The beer was cold. The food was terrific, and
Rexrode had his pants off
and
over his head.
Rexrode had his hands on his head. But the TV
should I say that?
No, but the TV was right in front of us. It was a sweet setup, and it was a great great evening. And so Mr. Neurotic Pants will get the $20 gift card from Hopcat. Go to hopcat.com to find the Hopcat location nearest you. If you live in Lansing, you know where it is. East Lansing, one in Grand Rapids, Ann Arbor, Detroit, Indianapolis, Kalamazoo, all over the place. Lots of Hopcats everywhere. And, give Hopcat a try. You will enjoy their food. And by the way, they're not kidding. Those cosmic fries that they used to call crack fries, do not go once without trying them because they are absolutely
I still call them crack fries.
Yeah, they're absolutely fantastic. 2 Mr. Neurotic Pants hot takes. I think the idea that all rebuilds take time and there are screw-ups in the beginning. I heard Dan Wetzel say an interesting – was it Wetzel? No, it wasn't. It was Trent Dilfer. I was listening to a podcast that Dilfer was on. It just took the UAB job, which is an interesting hire. And he was talking about Mel Tucker and what you have to do when you get to a program and what he had to do at the high school program he was at. And he said he loves Mel Tucker, but the mistake that he thought Tucker made was that they put lipstick on a pig instead of tearing it down, which was an interesting way of putting it because they did replace a lot of guys. They just happened to have Kenneth Walker. I don't know if Kenneth Walker is truly lipstick on a pig, but it creates it accelerates the expectations for a rebuild and changes how you have to do it. I don't know if it hurts him long term or not, because to me what's more important is as long as you have understanding administrators, people who want you to succeed, it doesn't matter what I think or you think or Couch in the Rube listeners think. But that was an interesting take that, things can take time. I think for Mel Tucker, two things. One, it's the recruiting classes, the one that were true freshmen this year, next year in 2024. And then it's going to be the game management and the coaching and the sort of faith that people have in him based on how they handle situations and all that stuff.
Matt Boone next. Number 1, MSU is screwed and Graham is wearing a bra if we can't stay healthy in basketball. 2, MSU fans need basketball to turn it around. I can't handle another meh year. 3, getting a tattoo for the first time was not as bad as I thought. Not always fun, but cool to get when done.
How many tattoos do you have?
I haven't counted. I don't know.
A bunch.
10,
okay.
Maybe.
Have there ever been any that are like extremely painful?
Not really. Not any that I've had.
Okay.
I kind of enjoy the pain of it. So I'm not one to ask on that. But if you got one, like on your stomach or near your chest area, I think that kind of hurts, or your ankle.
Yeah, or near a bone, right? You don't want that. That's where, yeah.
When are you getting one?
I'm not getting one.
Never?
That would be a bet that would be different. Well, would that be my way out of the bra bet if I said I get a tattoo instead?
1,000% of what?
Well, that would have
1,000%.
like,
yes,
just like Couch in the Rube and like all across my back in giant letters.
Dude, I'm in.
I'm not going to do
the
that.
listeners speak, but
Elizabeth
I think
would
they're
be
behind
so
me.
pissed off.
Wait, she's on the phone. You just get on your back. You don't have to see it. She doesn't see it either.
Oh,
no, I didn't mean it that way. Andrew Zuiza. Graham has a Manzier laying around somewhere. You won't even have to buy one.
ouch.
They are comfortable, I heard.
Yeah. Well, if I stop doing push-ups, if my breast gets any larger, I may need to get one anyway. So you're right. Yeah.
Jarrett next. December is the most important month for MSU hoops. Either they heal up and improve a ton, or this is who they are right now, an average to below average team. Their so-called tough schedule was really playing many teams that were overrated, which then MSU became overrated.
Well, here's the thing with the tough schedule. I mean, everybody's at a certain point in the season together. And like who I think Kentucky could become, I think Kentucky has a fair bit of talent. And I think Gonzaga has a fair bit of talent. Villanova obviously has fallen off, but I think who Villanova was at that point when they still had an edge to them. The problem with a team like Villanova, and I've seen this with other teams where you have a few proud seniors left over, but not really the stars, mostly role guys from a great team, is eventually they wear down and they just don't have enough. The tough schedule, though, to me was just how little time was between things to prepare with a young team for other teams. And it's sort of, there is some bullshit involved in it too. Like Penn State, who they're playing Wednesday night, had like 7 days to prepare for this or something like that, whatever it was. And their next Big Ten game is Saturday. So I mean they'll have less time for that one where Michigan State plays Brown. But it's sort of interesting that Michigan State really could have used no game and then play maybe one more in December somewhere. But they'll get. I do think the rapid succession with the injuries, and I do think I think there was a fatigue of focus, maybe more than physical fatigue.
Derek Spartan next. Number 1, the most important MSU sporting moment of the weekend was Tucker visiting the offensive tackle recruit. 2, at some point, Hauser will be benched only to reemerge a better shooter for a tourney run. And 3, Graham's columns and quick takes need to become more upbeat, or I'll have to start drinking heavily before reading them.
Yeah, no, it's. I apologize. I will work on.
I don't know how you shine it though.
Sometimes you can't.
I know. Like, what are you supposed to say after losing to Northwestern at home? And boo-booey.
I know. And the thing is, I actually thought Northwestern was, like, it was interesting. In the first half of that game, I started to think, wait a second, like, Northwestern's as good as them. Like, it was very clear to me Northwestern was in the fight. They knew they were in it. They were fired up to be there. They had a backcourt that they knew could play with Michigan State, and they were hitting shots. And, like, I almost tweeted out for the listeners, like, not a bad live line to take Northwestern, but the payout wasn't great. And I mean, because by that point Vegas had adjusted, and I didn't want to be really wrong and lead people betting against Michigan State, and then everybody's pissed off. Not only did anyway, and they weren't even able to enjoy the win. But yeah, it was there was not a lot of upbeatness to that particular thing. Other than I do think, and Michigan State needs this to happen, I do think Northwestern is better than their brand. I don't know how good they'll be, but that if they stay healthy and that trio in the backcourt stays healthy, they should win some games that you don't expect them to win. They should be like a 6-win Big Ten team. So it doesn't become like the worst home loss ever. What you can't have is their season to crater, and then it really it drags you down just a little bit. We've got tons more of your hot takes to come. Couch in the Rube, presented by Skymint Premium Cannabis and Muskox Quality Flannels.
Hopcat exists at the intersection of great beer and delicious food, complemented by music, art, community, and comfort. Home to a best-in-class beer experience served by craft beer experts. Guests can expect a casual, inviting local gathering place with some of the best damn burgers and fries you'll find in Michigan. Hopcat is proud to be an official sponsor of Peyton Thorne. Show your Spartan pride by ordering the iconic Peyton Thorne burger, created by the man himself. There is no better place to watch any Michigan State game other than the 50-yard line at Spartan Stadium. Stop by any of our locations: East Lansing, Detroit, Grand Rapids, Ann Arbor, Kalamazoo, and Holland. To plan your next trip to Hopcat, visit hopcat.com. Ever wondered just how comfortable you can be? Find out with Muskox high-quality flannels. Muskox is a Detroit-based company that creates durable comfort that'll last a lifetime. Muskox flannels are thoughtfully designed with 100% cotton that is ethically sourced and double brushed for softness. This will be the softest flannel you'll ever buy, guaranteed. For every $100 purchase, Muskox will donate $10 to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center. Get comfortable this fall and winter with Muskox flannels. Learn more or order yours today at gomuskox.com.
When it's your moment, that once-in-a-lifetime moment, you don't just want jewelry. You can get that anywhere. You want a memory that will go down in history, your moment. We're Medawar, crafted with exquisite style, quality, and love, so your present will be stunning every time you look at it, every time someone notices it, and they will notice. We've devoted our lives to this art, and we're proud to share it with you. The gift you want to give is here.
Medawar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, Portage, and Brighton.
Firekeepers Online Casino and Sportsbook is the site to play. Get your Vegas on right now from your phone, tablet, or laptop. All the hottest slots and tables, plus sports betting featuring in-game wagering. Download the app at firekeeperscasino.com. Go with the name you know. Firekeepers. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and located in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117. Wherever you are on your cannabis journey, let Skymint Premium Cannabis be your guide, your friend, and your place. Whether you're curious about cannabis or a seasoned connoisseur, Skymint's knowledgeable staff will help you with a vast selection of products to choose from to fit your needs. Skymint believes access to the best cannabis helps people do good and feel good, so they grow it right here in Michigan, giving you high-quality, locally grown cannabis at highly accessible prices. Visit skymint.com for special offers and location information throughout Michigan, and use the promo code CouchAndRube20 for 20% off your first visit. Skymint Cannabis. You'll love this place.
Find Couch in the Rube podcasts on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Google Podcasts, CastBox, and the Rube's favorite, Podcast Addict.
Couch in the Rube, presented by Skymint Premium Cannabis, and our Tuesday night show brought to you by our friends at Muskox High-Quality Flannels. Go to gomuskox.com, and when you purchase your flannel, use the promo code CAW15, that's CAW 15, for $15 off. I'm telling you, you will absolutely love the way it feels, love the durability, and love the way it looks. And I mean, I'm already a really dapper dude, but this helps. So there's that.
Paulie's show next. of all the issues MSU basketball has right now, which are fixable in season and which are gonna have to live with? It's hot here.
Yeah, the in season the fixable ones to me are perhaps what Jaden Akins becomes if he stays healthy. Like I'm eager to see if he becomes the player they thought he was last summer. If you're out for 11 of 13 weeks, it takes a while. Like, can that player, if he has a full month without being hurt, be around in January? Can he be somebody who's a threat on both ends and a true impact player? And that totally changes who Michigan State is. And then Malik Hall coming back. Like, I think they're potentially a really good team. I've said that before. There are things they're going to have to live with. Who Madi Sissoko is, they're going to have to live with. And he is not going to be great every night. He is not going to be a dominant presence on the glass. He's much better at free throw shooting, which I think is important. I think Carson Cooper is – look, freshmen are always going to improve throughout time, so you never know. But there are certain things that he is going to struggle with. And some of the ball screen stuff doesn't work great right now. And just, he's going to be a spot player. And the fewer spots he's in, the better. And I think when Malik Hall comes back, it gives you more flexibility with Hauser at the 5, which they don't have right now. And I think that takes a little off of that. So I think there are things, again, with their flexibility that'll improve. But who they are at the 5, I don't think can change. And then the other guy that I've been a little disappointed at times with that I think every once in a while we see it is A.J. Hoggard. Like we saw it at the end of the Northwestern game. He started to take over for a little bit. He has that in him, and he just hasn't been consistent with it and has to do it. So those are all things that are within this team's framework and possibilities.
G.E. Miller next. Number 1, this season will break Izzo's tourney streak. 2, Izzo can't praise himself for sticking with his guys while simultaneously whining about injuries, foul trouble, and guys being tired. 3, Izzo gambled and he lost.
I just think it's way too early to know that. If Malik Hall does not play a healthy January and February,
don't coach my team.
Then that's absolutely the final thing we'll say on that. I think he would have gambled and lost. He didn't have the depth. I do think even if they had brought in somebody, not having Malik Hall was going to hurt them. But if you had another 5 who was just what it would do for the depth and what it would do for Hauser, and there'd be lots of things you could do in terms of moving around pieces. So it's fair. But again, these are hot takes. And
it's just amazing, like a month ago where we were, and then now it's just like Izzo's ass. But Hall of Famer last month.
To be fair, we're asking for people's hot takes.
No, I'm not saying they're wrong. Yeah. It's just wild how sports can change like that. I'm not saying anyone's wrong.
So quick, yeah.
Kurt Wisniewski, number 1, Mel's not firing anyone, and Michael Penix just threw another TD. 2, Jamison Williams adds 8 points of offense to the Lions by just being there. And 3, Harbaugh will be the next coach in Indy in 2023.
The Penix coming back, so he'll be at Spartan Stadium. Not great, sort of a not great Bob moment.
I'm guessing he talked to draft experts or someone, or
it's interesting.
Right? I mean, it's weird that he's coming back.
He must think he can get himself into the first round.
Okay.
And maybe the thing with him is injuries. So he might think if I do 2 straight years healthy, that's going to help prove to NFL guys that I can, because he's got a golden arm. There's no question about that. But the question is the health stuff. I was surprised. I really was. And the NIL money probably helps that. There's probably some deal up there he's got that he's like, I'm not going to be poor. And so I'm comfortable here, and I think I can improve my stock. And it's interesting because I don't know where his stock was. I thought a lot of people thought he was maybe a second-round pick, which seems like time to go, But because plus if you're a second-round pick, you have more control over yourself too, right? Because you come up earlier for your second contract, like Dak Prescott did. So
it must be really great at Washington.
It must be incredible.
Can't blame him.
Yeah, no. Having Jamison Williams back, by the way, was kind of exciting.
How many plays was he out there? I read 12 or
yeah,
less
but
than that.
And the headline on Los's column was ass. But yeah, it was kind of just to see him running. I don't know. It was basically like didn't live up to the debut didn't live up to the hype. Whatever, some bullshit. It wasn't even that he didn't even. I don't even know.
Does Gannett make him take a month off?
Well, but the thing is, I got a week off coming up.
I know.
Yeah, I got a furlough coming up next week. His piece wasn't even bad. It was like the headline, and
you read it.
Well, I just wanted to make sure it was a Los piece, and it was. But the Williams thing's kind of exciting. The other thing is about this is Harbaugh. I know a lot of people are saying there's no chance, and he's saying he wouldn't go anywhere. And the thing that's interesting about the playoff stuff, though, is the only way a college coach is in the playoff only has one place to go, and that's the NFL, because the timing doesn't work for another college job. Harbaugh's not going to another college job anyway. But the Indianapolis Colts job might be open this year, and that would be an interesting connection if he chose to do it. If I were a coach like Harbaugh, though, I would never leave for anywhere with that quarterback situation.
But is there some spite from Harbaugh with having to redo his contract, and maybe he gets to the college football playoff, gets to the national championship game, and goes, they lose to Georgia, let's say, and he goes, fuck it, I'm out of here.
So I think a year ago that he had finally beaten Ohio State, and they looked really good doing it, got him to the playoff, won the Big Ten title, did everything, but there was a lot of questions about whether they could actually duplicate that. And I don't know that he knew if he could. And the idea that might have been the best time to take off. At this point, not only did he duplicate it, without some of the NFL stars, I think he had a better team. And now, if you lose to Ohio State next year or don't win it, nobody's saying your program's fallen off. You're just in the fight again. Okay, Ohio State got one. You got one. Like, by winning 2, it changes the narrative entirely for Harbaugh.
And the last one, the way they did it.
Yeah.
True domination at Ohio State's house.
And good weather and all that stuff. Yeah.
Ryan Schultz next. Number 1, to this point, Matty Sissoko has had more bad games than good games. Kentucky was a mirage, and he needs Malik Hall in there with him to succeed. Spin zone if Graham tries to tell me last night wasn't bad. 2, the Big Ten should take it out of Harbaugh's hands and suspend Mozzie. 3, Izzo is both a coaching legend and an arrogant fool.
He's definitely a stubborn man.
Cockburn.
I don't know. Arrogant fool is I think too far, because I do think he has a vision for this team and the program in these 2 years that could work. I don't think the Big Ten's going to do anything. I just don't. And I don't know if that's the right player or not. But at this point, if you're suspending him for a playoff game. But then again, you can't. That if somebody deserves to be suspended, they deserve to be suspended. You can't worry about what game it is. And so, should we do some spin zone here?
Oh, you want some spin?
Yeah, give me some spin zone.
Caution, you are about to enter the spin zone with noted newspaper columnist and radio host Graham Couch.
I thought Sissoko was decent. I'm not going to tell you he was good. Like, he was better than he's been. The place that I am not as impressed with Sissoko right now that I was impressed early with him is on the glass. Like, I thought he was a force on the glass against Gonzaga. And we have not seen that since. Sort of above the rim, go get it. He kind of got pushed around. The whole team, they're not a great rebounding team. And Sissoko, with that frame and his sort of second jump ability, ought to be better there. So I don't know if that's a total spin zone. But I thought and I would totally agree with you, though, Ryan, on Malik Hall for him. It makes a huge, huge difference.
JD next. Number 1, I hope Xavier Booker will be worth missing the tourney for the first time in 30 years. Yeah, I think so. 2, Graham, I'm thinking a nice dark lavender for your man's ear. It just might be your color. 3, would be nice if someone could get Mel's thoughts on the Mozzie situation the next time he has a presser.
So Mel's next press conference is going to be signing day, the 21st of December. That's the next time he's going to be around or speak, and it's going to be a hard thing to get into because it's.
You want me to come ask it?
No, it's not because anybody will be afraid of it. He will not want to deal with it, and so there's an art to these things. There really is. I'm not saying it shouldn't be asked if it's still a story then, and we'll see what develops. But you don't want to, like, if there are certain things you're looking to get out of a coach at a press conference, especially in an important recruiting class one where you need to ask a lot about different situations and the portal and different guys and the roster and all sorts of important questions. You don't want to piss somebody off early or have the wrong person ask the question or ask in a horrible way so you don't get the right answer. So that is a question that should be asked. It needs to be asked late in the press conference, and it needs to be asked tactfully to try there's a way to ask it. So I'm with you on that, but you can't, if you ask it too early and you piss them off and the press conference just doesn't, then you screw the whole thing up. There's a real art to that stuff sometimes. It's like Izzo. You never ask Izzo a really important question for a column or something you want to write that's themed. Like if I want to write a column on Jason Whitens or somebody specific player, you wait till Izzo spit out everything that he really wanted to get off the top of his head. You don't want to be the first or second question because he'll have an opening statement, and then the next person will ask a specific question, and Izzo will kind of answer for 2 seconds, and then he'll go into other things he forgot he wanted to mention, and you don't get anything you wanted to get. So you understand with Izzo, I'm going to go like fifth here. and maybe I'll get what I absolutely need. It's the art. You learn these coaches. To the Xavier Booker point, and whether that was a concern, if you bring in a center, does he not commit? I think obviously you could have committed. You could have got a guy who was probably a 1-year guy. Now with a lot of these guys, you don't know if they're a 1-year guy because some of these with the COVID year that we're still gonna have a couple years of cycle through. Most players that you think might be a 1-year dude could actually maybe have another year after that if they really wanted it. So there's some interesting stuff there. I think they probably could have found a way to have another 5. They wanted, I think, the Sissoko piece. They wanted Sissoko to have a chance. They sort of believed in him, and they believed he was as good as most of the guys they were looking at. He is not as good as the kid at Iowa State, who's phenomenal. I covered that game for the Des Moines paper out in Portland. He's terrific.
BPA next. Number 1, a 1-year big from the portal would have been so great, especially with this schedule. 2, next year is the big one with this MSU recruiting class, so let's lay off the early season overload. Keep everybody healthy. And 3, Carson Cooper is an unplayable because his ball screen defense is laughable.
Yeah, I mean he's trying his best out there. Laughable is tough word, but it's there are times that it's not gone well. The other point is one worth taking. Like what the roster looks like next year, you want to test those guys early, but you don't want it to look quite like this. Now this schedule, it won't be as out of Michigan State's control next year, and that's something Izzo's brought up, and he wants more control out of it. But this was the only year that they had to play both the Gavitt games against the Big East and the ACC Big Ten Challenge. They had been behind on the Gavitt games because they hadn't played in it for a bunch of years early on. The ACC Big Ten Challenge is done, so they have control over that. It's much better to play that game they used to play against like Texas in late December if you're going to play a good non-conference team and space it out a little bit, something like that. And then they weren't going to turn down Portland because you know what Portland's going to do. They're going to turn around, and we talked to Brendan Quinn about this, right? They turn around and grab Michigan or something like that. And then they weren't going to turn down the aircraft carrier. So it wound up being a tough situation for this team. Next year you want to challenge them, but you want to have the tough game, and then you want to have the easier game. The tough game, the easier game. You want to kind of go back and forth, and this team, they didn't really do that.
Exist next. I don't understand how fans are already calling for Mel Tucker, but love Dan Campbell. MSU will do way more with Tucker than the Lions will do with Campbell.
I don't know. Lions look okay with Campbell right now. We'll see.
How many people were calling for, either job?
I don't think anybody is really. I mean,
There was concern early on in the season with the Lions, with Campbell. I
think people have their doubts about both still.
Sure.
Which is fair.
And as Lions fans, we deserve that.
Well, Lions fans should always have doubt.
Yes.
I think Mel Tucker is, because even if it was lipstick on a pig, he's had the 11-2 season, and he's so far, we'll see what this class winds up being, but he's so far recruited at the level he was brought in to recruit to. And that's got to continue, right? And the momentum has to, you have to keep that there, and there have to be some things. But he's earned a little bit of time to get that going. You're just gonna have a vicious cycle if you were to get rid of Tucker. I mean, first of all, you're not gonna get rid of Tucker. You can't afford to. Nobody wants to do that. But if you don't want to get rid of coaches, you don't want to be known as a place that doesn't give somebody time. That's just not ideal.
Don't you get like in an argument with someone you love and you say something you don't mean?
That's what these hot takes are for.
Yeah. Fire someone. Nick Palmer next. Number 1, the transfer portal is drunk. 2, Bill Walton needs to be a weekly guest. And 3, I wish every team could go to a bowl game.
Yeah, you don't want that. Bill Walton as a weekly guest would be interesting. That'd be good for Skyman.
Absolutely. I wish I had his number.
Yeah, it would be a fit.
I have Mike Leach's number.
I have a connection to Bill Walton, but I don't know if it's direct. I actually said hello and saw him, and he was doing the Portland games. But
did you guys talk hoops?
We did not. It was just
two legends of the hardwood.
Incredibly brief pleasantries. But Steve Hawkins, the former coach at Western Michigan, was John Wooden's driver back in the day when he was young, barely out of college type guy. Wow. And Wooden would come to those camps, right? So they knew each other a little bit. And so anyway, there's that connection. So, but I think if we ever wanted Walton once, we could get to him. Maybe we'll do that in the summer. But every week.
Do we tell him that most of Michigan State's fan base thinks he's ass?
I'm sure.
Should we tell him that?
He'd probably be okay with it. He'd probably be. I mean, thing about Walton is I don't think he takes himself too seriously.
I know.
I just get that sense.
I like him, but I'm old, so
yeah,
I can see why people don't like him.
But by the way, going back to the thing you said a minute ago about having a release and sort of saying that, fire this coach or whatever and that sort of thing. You said, I mean, that's one of the things that I was watching the documentary on Wrexham, the football club owned by Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney, and McElhenney was talking about how. He was talking with the Eagles owner. He was in Philadelphia talking about what it's like owning a team and some of the lessons and things he's had to learn. And he was just talking about how different it is owning a team than when he used to be just watching the Eagles on Sunday. And he's on a text thread with his friends, and they're firing off all sorts of opinions about who should be fired, what player sucks, who they should draft, how they got to cut this guy, who should be playing more. And that's what we all need that release. I mean, I have it in 3 quick takes. I just try not to go too overboard.
Dan P. next. Number 1, Harbaugh is a sanctimonious hypocrite and has made MSU-Michigan relations 10 times worse. 2, Alan Haller showed weakness versus Michigan. And 3, McDonald's cheeseburger is the best fast food burger.
Couple things here. I don't want to let 3 go by without saying I
is that Sky Mint related?
Well, I agree.
Because I've eaten really? Out of all of the burgers?
Well, here's what I like about the McDonald's cheeseburger.
It's up in the top 5, I think.
Yeah. The ketchup is fantastic, and it's only 300 calories.
It's all about the bun.
It's only 300 calories. So you can do 2 of those things for 600 calories.
Butter the bun.
It's very good.
Pickles.
We don't need to give McDonald's any more business. I think they're doing okay.
Yeah, no one knows about Mickey D's. Say a code word for McDonald's.
Yeah, no. Hopcats fries though will kick the shit out of McDonald's fries. So let me put it like that right now. I mean, go to get some crack fries.
McDonald's has real crack in their fries. Don't eat them.
You don't want those. Alan Haller showed weakness versus Michigan. I in the whole situation. I don't know
what should he have done?
Yeah, I don't know what he did.
I'm not saying he's wrong.
I mean, I've talked to him since it happened. I mean, and they had some frustrations. He had some frustrations with the league. They had some frustrations, but I mean, I think I think Mel Tucker bit his lip. I think they were being, but I think also they were trying to come out of it thinking big picture. What helps MSU the most here, and just firing back at Harbaugh or Michigan and getting in a tit for tat. I don't know that's strength.
Alan Haller's kind of thing, right?
No, I don't think it helps you. I thought he played it okay. I thought Mel Tucker played it pretty well. I mean, he's taken some shots, but nobody. I mean, I don't think anybody would say he's handled anything incorrectly.
They're talking about it behind the scenes.
Oh,
obviously,
sure. Every day.
Yeah. Captain Dave, MSU next. Commissioner Warren is cheesed because Michigan failed to disclose Mazi Smith felony charge when he imposed penalties on MSU. Expect a new suspension for Mazi before the playoff game and a $25,000 fine for Michigan not telling the Big Ten about Mazi's charges. How about $100,000?
If Captain Dave is plugged in, then maybe this is a thing. I mean, but I would be surprised if there's anything that comes out of this. We'll see. There's
Captain Dave is wrong?
I don't know that. I don't know. Captain Dave may be the captain. This may be Commissioner Warren. Captain Dave may be Commissioner Warren. There was a moment today that I thought the stout sponsors. What's the spawn of stout sponsors? I was looking for that first word.
Spawn,
spawn.
The Twitter guy.
Yeah.
The guy on Twitter that does the stout on sponsors.
He called the Free Press the state's paper of record today, and I was like, holy shit, you're Solari's burner. I caught on. I knew who it is, and I immediately texted Solari. Like, this is your burner.
I told him it's weird, or whoever it is. I said it's weird, like, because I read all of their text in like Stout's voice. So when they do something that's actually, I'm used to just them being a parody, not like a real take.
No, I get that. That's yeah.
Nestle's Quick Hotel next. We currently live in the Upside Down, where the Lions are my only sports joy, which is pretty pathetic, considering that at best they will barely miss the playoffs, but it's all I have. And bonus, how can a story be censored if its existence consumes my entire timeline?
I don't know which story that is, but I'm guessing this is it is look, the Lions being the best hope, the best joy for people right now is pretty crazy, especially the way the season began too. But that is why you want to have multiple teams in a city, right? You don't want to be locked into one thing.
Listen, it's been great down in Detroit before. It's not. You don't act like it's been like 100 years since we've experienced some joy.
This feels very Wayne Fonts like.
All right.
In certain ways.
I don't care what you call it.
Although
Let's just win.
The difference is it's been a while now, so it feels like okay, they're doing. This feels like early. You remember that year they went 7-9, and Barry Sanders' rookie year after they were 1-8 to start the year. This feels like that year. We were like 9 years old, but this I remember that well.
Thanks for that comparison. I have to go back and look at those that year.
I got them on VHS. I taped over all the baby videos of my sister.
I can't remember Alex Smith's name, but bring up stats from Barry. Kenton next. Number 1, 0 MSU coordinator changes thus far equals no more winning seasons during Tucker's tenure. Please, no more late-era D'Antonio stuff. 2, without Malik Hall, MSU will not make the NCAA tournament. And 3, worried about Michigan State basketball.
I'm with you on the Malik Hall thing. Like, I think he's that important. I think this team becomes an iffy bubble team without him, because right now they're not an NCAA tournament team. Now, I do think whatever Jaden Akins becomes could push them onto the right side of the bubble if he's able to really take massive strides, and maybe but they would not be more than a bubble team without Malik Hall. That would be their best case scenario, I really believe, because when I look around the Big Ten, right now they're on the wrong side of, I think they'll probably lose to Penn State. They just lost to Northwestern. They're on the wrong side of too many teams who are average to below average, and they're just going to be in battles with those teams all the time. They're going to lose their fair share, and I think if they have Malik Hall and Jaden Akins 100%, they wind up, it's a better, they got a chance.
Well, let me ask you about one. Let's say Tucker holds firm, keeps everyone. What do you think the fan blowback is? Do you think it will be less because the season's over and people were exhausted and say screw it, or will there be like an uprising if he makes 0 changes?
Yeah, so I think, and by the way, people are nervous that he hasn't yet. If he was going to make changes, from people I've talked to, it sounds like throughout the profession, and there are changes that have been made, but really after signing day, like the calendar is really wacky. The transfer portal just opened. It's insane how many, like a third of college football is going to be in the transfer portal. That's an enormous number. You're trying to evaluate all these guys. You don't have time right now to be changing coaches, and I think they're going to redo the calendar. It does not work like this. They don't need this early signing day is kind of this just doesn't work with everything they got going. I don't think it's fair to the kids either, because a lot of these kids are going to sign with programs, and then that assistant coach that they got like 4 days later is going to go to another school. It's not a good system right now, but you're not going to see a lot of changes until after Christmas, right after Christmas. But to your question, if I think, yeah, I don't. My guess is he keeps them both. I really do think so. I don't know that says that he's a D'Antonio-like guy. I don't think they are the same type of person. I think he truly believes these are the right guys. Now, D'Antonio kept guys for years and years and years and years and years. I mean, we are just way, way earlier than that. I mean, you think about a year ago, Jay Johnson looked like the absolute answer. This isn't like 3 years of Jay Johnson and people going, ugh.
But let me ask you, if teams like Alabama, Clemson, the other top 5 schools that are generally in the top 5, do you think they would make a change if they saw what they saw on the field from their team? If you're Alabama or Clemson, you're telling me all of the guys are coming back.
But Alabama would never have an offensive line in that shape. You know what I mean?
You know what I mean, though.
Yeah, I do. It's a fair point. I don't know, and I honestly don't know what he'll do.
Again, this is big boy football.
Yep.
It's big money. We can't sit there and be loyal to guys, and that's what before this season and before the Tucker thing is like the loyalty thing was always a concern.
So, but there is an argument that the defense made enough progress throughout the year that there was some good stuff from Scotty Hazelton, right? There's that argument you should make. And you could make the argument that I don't think Jay Johnson had a very good year, but you could make the argument that you think he's still a good coordinator. Now, you can make the argument you don't think he's the guy too, and maybe they'll make a move there. My guess is he keeps both those guys.
All right, Lakeside 2000. What should be Tucker's pitch to land 5-star recruits? Saban was able to land them at MSU before he was the GOAT with nothing to sell but the dream. Having the dynamics of recruiting change too much to convince high-level kids to come to MSU?
Yeah, so Saban took chances on kids, though, at MSU. Like, I mean, Leroy McFadden, the 4-3 guy that, under the radar. I mean,
Boo Boo Thompson.
Boo Boo Thompson, certainly not a kid who belonged in a university. Demetrius Underwood obviously had his own issues. You look at Plaxico Burress, plucked out of a military school situation. Like, they took chances to build that. And Saban could control that environment, and ultimately when he left, that's why the Bobby Williams situation didn't work. The type of roster he built required Nick Saban to be around to make it work. And I don't think you want to go that route again. And it's a different era as well. But so I do think, but in terms of what's the dream and what you're selling that there's an opportunity to play early. There's an opportunity to make the NFL. There's an opportunity to be the Kenneth Walker. It was a down year. You're building something. Look at a year ago. I don't think it's a hard sell. Now, if you're up against Ohio State, is it a hard sell? Yeah, you've got to get the kid who wants to stand out and be the star at Michigan State. You're still in that zone where if you're going head-to-head with Alabama or Ohio State, you got to get a kid who wants to be somebody who sort of leads the way. And that's not every kid. And so, yeah, you're going to lose a lot of those. That's why building a program is hard to do. But I think there's still a decent sales pitch for MSU.
Ryan Rockwell next. Number one, having the World Cup during football and basketball season and games on during the workday is ass. I've caught maybe one game this whole World Cup, and I'm a big fan of international soccer. I get the time difference, but damn. 2, bring back Feliz Navidad. Did that. 3, appreciate you both.
Appreciate you, Ryan. I'm with you on the World Cup. Like, it's not helped my productivity. But I got a lot of friends who've missed a lot of games, and I've missed games that I wanted to see badly. Izzo has a press conference the other day, and he was a little frustrated because I think we had just been there for a press conference Sunday night, and then he had his Monday presser, and I think he felt obligated to do it. I didn't need to be there. I mean, Croatia and Japan are on penalty kicks, and I'm listening to Tom Izzo. It's like, no, nobody needs that. Like, Tom, we were good. But it's better in the summer. You can. More people have more flexible schedules, and it's a more fun environment, and it's I'm glad this is a one-off for sure.
Jojo next. Number one, the Kent State head coach as the OC hire by Deion Sanders at Colorado is the exact type of move Mel needs to make. Proven coach, effective system, ready for higher level. 2, the U.S. soccer team won't get past the round of 16 until they have a top-level striker. Jason, thoughts? Oh, boy. 3, MSU anxiety is exacerbated by Michigan being on the door of the national championship. This was unthinkable to someone like me who started watching football in 2007, and the fact that they may be consistently good again in Big Ten rising in competition level with Rule and Fickle makes me wonder if Tucker can get it done.
It is going to be a different Big Ten West, although the Big Ten is not going to be divisions soon. But you get USC, and we'll see what Rule does at Nebraska and what Fickle does at Wisconsin. I wouldn't be surprised if one of those wasn't any better than they are now or whatever. It does. It's not a guarantee that it'll work, although they do look like good hires. The Kent State head coach going to be Deion Sanders' offensive coordinator was that was a great hire. I mean, that's impressive to get a guy who's a head coach who runs an offense that's considered pretty innovative and I mean, I think he saw an opportunity to do something that has – I mean, he went to the worst power – like his Kent State team would probably beat Colorado right now. But he understands –
Oh, I think BU and a couple guys down the street.
Yeah, Colorado's not good.
Right?
Not good. Did you see Deion's speech to the team?
I caught a little bit of it, yeah.
Pretty blunt. But I didn't mind it. And I was surprised. Deion Sanders is well known as a guy who does not tolerate, like, caps backwards, cell phones in meetings. And to see guys doing that was a little weird.
It was the perfect hire for Colorado.
Yeah, absolutely perfect hire.
Doug Warren next. Number one, the Lions will beat Minnesota next Sunday. And 2, take the under in the Music City Bowl. Iowa versus Kentucky.
The question is, will the Lions cover if they're getting 2.5 now at this point?
What's the over/under in the Music City Bowl? 9?
Yeah,
fucking hell. I'm not watching that game.
We'll do our bowl picks at some point. Hold on, give me some off. Let me find out what that is.
Gotcha. Off.
Feliz Navidad. Cockburn. Feliz Navidad.
riding right up into my rectum. And it was painful.
Why don't you write some? Why don't you write some? Why don't you write some?
That's like a top 5 song for me all time. It really is. I mean, it just makes me want to watch Hallmark movies all day and curl up, and yeah, it's tremendous. Okay, the over-under is 31.5.
Wait, that's what you were looking up?
Yeah. Sorry.
Jesus.
Sorry.
Who gives a shit? I want to get out of here before midnight.
I apologize. Yeah.
Max Spade next. Number 1, the Lions might become my appointment viewing. Blasphemy. 2, 2023 to 2025 is Izzo's last realistic chance at his second daddy. Veteran leadership plus young talent equals opportunity. 3, I enjoyed seeing an old friend for breakfast more than I regretted missing Netherlands 3 to USA 1. Sad bonus. I just found out a different old friend passed suddenly this weekend. Keep in touch with those friends. The more memories you can cultivate, the better.
Definitely true.
Hell
Definitely
yeah,
true.
Max.
Yep. With you on that.
What kind of friend, though? Like some friends I just don't want to talk to anymore.
Well, then that's different. This is obviously,
fine? Or is it my
that's
friends
fine.
that I have? The current roster?
I don't know.
Or is he talking to like people that you don't talk to anymore?
Well, but there might be old friends that you would still be like, gosh, I wish I kept in touch with that person. Do you have any of those? Okay.
Nah.
I bet you're somebody on somebody's list. They're like,
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I wouldn't blame them. I'm a different guy now, but I can understand.
That's interesting. The old friend, though, over missing Netherlands USA. By the way, Netherlands USA was not. I watched it with Andrew Gauthier and Monica from Groovy Donuts.
Dropper.
Yeah, and enjoyed the company. The game itself sucked. So you
couldn't you go somewhere though, watch the game and chit chat with a friend?
You could.
Hang.
You could. Yes, absolutely. You could do both.
Okay,
sure.
Corey Ostrom next. Number 1, the MSU men's basketball team finishes 18-13 and 10-10 in conference. 2, when Malik Hall returns, MSU will start a small ball lineup with him at the 5, then Hogard, Walker, Akins, and Hauser. 3, Akins needs to be a bucket guy for MSU to be their best selves. And bonus, car troubles on the way to the Lions game is ass.
Total ass. It's awful. All right, so number 1 here is important. Because 18-13, 10-10 in conference, which could happen. I think they'll be better than that as long as they get healthy. But if that were to happen, I need 2 wins at the Big Ten tournament to avoid the bra bet.
Or the tattoo.
Or the tattoo couching the roof across my back.
I don't know. I think maybe we can come up with some things before we just do the couch and the roof tat.
Appreciate you.
By the way.
Across my forehead?
Yeah, right. By the way. Car trouble, if you blow out a tire, do you change it or do you call someone to come change it for you?
I usually, it depends on the situation. It depends on where I am on the road.
Absolutely.
If I'm in a safe place on the road, I change it myself.
You're on like a 4-lane I-75 or something.
Yeah, I don't mess around with that. In fact,
I'm calling somebody.
I was on a highway I blew a rental car tire on the way back from Indiana or Purdue or someplace last year. And I mean, it was like shredded. I was lucky to get over. And I went on a shredded, I didn't even want it was like 2 degrees. It was going to be forever.
Riding on 3 wheels.
Where the exit was not great for a tow truck driver. Like I went like half a mile up this ramp just to. But and the other thing is I realized that day too. There's a weather point where I'm not going to change it. Like when it's so frigid that your hands sting. Like I was out there helping because you're not going to be sitting in the car.
But I gotta say, if you have the service that will have someone come out, I have why wouldn't you just let someone change it? I don't know.
I pay for AAA for that reason.
Because I need to be a man.
Right. No, I've changed enough tires in my day to whoa. What was that?
Mr. Firestone over here.
Yeah.
Did you know?
I don't know anything else. I mean, usually if the car shuts down, I just pop the hood, which takes me 5 minutes to figure out how to do that, and then I stare at it and go, must be the alternator.
And then you call Elizabeth and she fixes it.
Yeah, something like that.
That's great. Gavin Haas next. Number 1. The Detroit Lions are in the top tier of the NFL. They play with the usual grit and fight, but they're a legitimately good team, and I can't wait for the defense to get even better. 2. Why are we acting like it's a big deal that Michael Penix Jr. is returning to Washington? We have no idea what to expect out of MSU football next season, so let's all settle down and relax a little bit. 3. The fan base needs to stop overreacting about MSU basketball. Is the big man problem an issue? Yes. Is the lack of depth an issue? Yes. This team was playing like a top 5 team before the Hall and Akins injuries, So let's settle down and see how they look when Hall returns. This kid's 16.
Gavin,
Telling everybody to calm down.
wise dude.
Yeah.
I do think that, the Hall thing is, I understand though why people are nervous about the Hall thing. There have been some foot injuries at MSU that have not healed or become something worse. I have very vivid memories of Izzo walking into press conferences to announce each Joshua Langford setback, and it's like people, there's some PTSD for that for people. And the Russell Bird situation, he rushed back and it never got right and he regretted it. So there are circumstances, but
that happens at every school.
Right. And like the Miles Bridges one, people barely knew and he was fine and it was never a thing again. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's because I don't even think they called it what it was at the
Liz Frank.
It was not Liz Frank, but yeah.
Spartky McCune next. Number 1.
There may be an error of a copy editing error by me in there with the name because I typed the actual names.
Oh, so Sparty McCune?
Probably, yeah.
Number 1. With the transfer portal sucking up MSU's defensive line, Brandon Jordan is an overpaid hype man. 2. Len Bokunowitz is the most undervalued running back in the portal. Tuck needs to sign him tomorrow. Is he real? Is that a real person? 3. Crossing bridges is Graham's favorite hobby. What does that mean?
I do like a good bridge.
You like to cross a bridge?
Yeah, you just.
Do you stop and look at like the highway traffic and?
No, I'm talking like a good old covered bridge. I get out my cowboy hat, my muskox flannel, and I just observe. I just have a moment. That's how you do it. Yeah, I think that's the way to go.
Connor next. Number 1, defaulting to freshman thoughts each week is cheating. Just call it 2 quick takes at this point. I love when people bust you out. 2, football doesn't have the talent to expect more than 6 to 7 wins next year. And 3, Sissoko needs to stop picking our own players when they are defending drives to the basket.
He does do that once in a while. It doesn't have always a natural feel for what's happening. But by the way, with the reason that the freshman thoughts exist in the 3 quick takes is there have been a lot of years. I can't even remember what year the quick takes began. It was after the Bridges thing, but that the freshmen were like the most, and I didn't do them in every game, and I now do them in every game, and I might get away from that as these guys become clearly more and more bit role players. Like, at a certain point, you're right. You're absolutely right. But the freshman thoughts give me something to go to. I mean, the problem is it's not easy to write.
But it gives you one solid one that I know
what I'm writing.
Yes.
And if I have another one, like if I have 3 for sure, then I can get rid of it. But it gives me something that I can go to, that I can start to map out at halftime a little, that I can, because it's pretty frantic there at the end sometimes. So
it took me a while to catch the freshman thoughts thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Because that's classic Couch. But yeah.
But there have been classes where people were very interested in the freshmen. So I was like, okay, I'll just talk about them in something every single time, and there will always be that staple. Sure. And then I've also, a couple times when I left it out, people be like, hey, where's the freshman thoughts? So there's the other side.
Tony and the Ducks next. Number 1, freshman thoughts as a quick take after every game is actually not a quick take at all.
Thank you, Tony.
2, people that skip over Kim for Hauser in the debate for the next quarterback are as annoying as AF as fuck.
Yes.
Okay. Dude earned second string for a reason. 3, Jim Harbaugh is a hypocritical ass bitch. Fuck that guy.
I like how he abbreviated as fuck, and then when it came to after Harbaugh couldn't contain himself. Yeah, he was
We're dropping MFers now?
Yeah, I wouldn't write Noah Kim off. I mean, I think Hauser's a guy they like. Hauser was a big recruit. But there's nothing we've seen that says Noah, other than the fact that he hasn't won that job at this point. But the history of Michigan State says the guy that they thought was going to be the guy doesn't always wind up being the guy. In fact, most often has not been the guy. So it would not stun me if Noah Kim wound up at some point being the starter for Michigan State. I wouldn't bet on it, but it would not surprise me. But in terms of being the backup, though, I mean, Hauser was a true freshman this year. So and he was running the scout team. So you see him in his second spring, like how that looks. It'll be interesting to see where things are after this spring.
Some dude next. Number 1, please, can we agree to put an end to the man bra bet for all of our sake? So much additional despair to each loss. It may even be affecting the team. Can we tie this to something good like the Final Four? Tattoo bet. 2, I generally don't like firing coaches mid-season, but the Lions are a strong 4-1 since the release of the secondary coach. Campbell can't clock manage his way out of a wet paper bag, but if there is such a thing as cultural genius, it must be him. And 3, from the Skymint side, chicken-flavored stuff like rice-a-roni doesn't taste like chicken. It tastes like other chicken-flavored stuff. What is the origin of this? Bonus. If you're on the fence about a caw shirt, go for it. High quality, great fit, soft and sexy. You won't be disappointed. Made with love by T-Lost.
Yeah.
By Trees.
And if you want to use CAW15 as a promo code, you get $15 off a muskox high quality flannel, and you will not be disappointed in that either. Go to gomuskox.com. Remember, it's a Michigan-based company that, one of the things they care deeply about the planet. A lot of their proceeds go to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation. I mean, these guys are legit, and they make a hell of a product that's comfortable that I wear all the time. Again, gomuskox.com.
He's not lying.
No, I'm not.
All the time.
All the time. Absolutely. I don't know what the origin of the rice-a-roni. I love that you were
When was the last time you had rice-a-roni?
It's been a long time. I can't even remember.
I think it would take some Skymint for me to get in the mood for some rice-a-roni.
You know what I've wanted a few times when I've had some Skymint in me?
Ruby donuts.
Well, those all, yes, that, without question.
Donuts.
But it's the little cups of ramen. Every once in a while, it's like I have a hankering for that. It's like
go
a
to
flashback.
jail. You'll be a king there if you have 3 things of ramen noodles. That's like currency in jail.
Is it really?
Oh yeah.
When you were in jail, did you have a lot of ramen?
Well, I didn't buy a lot because people would, swing by and steal stuff. And what are you going to do? Start a jail fight? I'm not that dumb.
Over ramen? Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
No, it was just you had money in your commissary and then you would order stuff from it, but I wouldn't order like 9 packs of it or anything.
I love the comment. Was there a Morgan Freeman type character? Somebody who knew how to get things?
I was only in there for like 70 days.
Yeah, but you might meet that
Talk
guy.
about breaking out.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean someone that can get you
get you a thing on the outside, get you the poster, get you whatever you need.
That's prison. That's what people think where I went. I didn't go there. I went to jail, county jail.
Still a story worth telling, presented by Midtown Brewing Company, as always. 402 South Washington Avenue, an awesome, cozy place to be in a muskox flannel with a American stout beer.
Go to jail. It'll change your life for the better.
Matt Carini coming back to town this month, and he and I will no doubt be
in jail?
No, having a beer at Midtown Brewing Company. Go to midtownbrewing.net. Check out their fantastic menu. Great date place, great brunch place on the weekends.
Does he still wear that white shirt?
I love that bit. I'm guessing he does. That little James Dean thing he's got going.
Yeah, where he wears the white shirt all the time?
Yeah.
I love that bit. Call me Al next. Number 1, turns out the MSU basketball team is as good as we thought. Unfortunately, we will see Graham's cans. Graham's cans. Got to get used to that. 2, Hogard, I want to be somewhere else. Look on his face during games has to drive Izzo nuts. 3, Tucker's biggest offseason loss is losing D'Antonio as an excuse. Interesting.
So, yeah, at a certain point, you're right. You move on from those kids. I don't think he's quite there yet because I think next year's class is going to be reflective of as much as anything. Or not next year's class, next year's team, not class, sorry. Fix that in post. Next year's team is still going to be a reflection of the shape the program is in when he took over. I do think a year from now that he loses D'Antonio is the excuse. And that will be, and that's, then it's on him. Then he's got to do it. And, but I think next year is still going to be a struggle.
What about 2? I've had people ask me, like Hogard, because they watch and like, do you see the same thing I'm seeing? Like Hogard just seems like he doesn't want to be there.
I don't see that.
Okay,
but maybe, and I'll start looking for it now. Like when I read this hot take from Call Me Al, I thought, wow, that's interesting. And usually I'm trying to write the freshman thoughts or something, so I'm not really paying attention to his face. But when I've talked to him after a number of games, after games he's struggled in, I've talked to him. And he never comes off, to his credit, like he doesn't come across as aloof or I don't want to talk to you or I don't want to be there. He comes across as accountable,
So is that just the way he plays?
And it might just be his face. You know what I mean? Sometimes too, like we talked about the resting face of Jim Caldwell and different people. It might just
stupid looking face.
I didn't say that.
Jesus, man.
Yeah, I did not say
Which one, Caldwell?
He's got a stupid looking face.
Oh,
wasn't going to fall
it's
for
unbelievable. Ryan Allen next. Number 1, I love college basketball. Michigan fans say we need to stop using the transfer portal and just develop our own point guards. MSU fans say we need to use the transfer portal. We shouldn't have trusted the players Izzo is developing. 2, I keep hearing MSU needs more from the backup centers, and I agree a little bit. But looking over teams and stats, nobody is getting more than 2 to 4 points and 2 to 4 rebounds per game from their backup centers, and that's what MSU's doing.
It's funny. My opinion on this has changed a little bit. I don't necessarily – would Julius Marble be a better backup center, more seasoned guy, and he's just a backup now at Texas A&M too, than obviously playing a true freshman? Yeah, I mean, that would have been helpful, no question. But I don't think the freshman – I don't think that's as much of an issue as the inconsistency of Sissoko. I think the freshmen, especially Kohler, will get to the point, and especially if they get Hall back and they're able to use Hauser there some too against certain matchups, like the Penn State matchup. Penn State plays 5 guards half the time. This is a matchup that you don't even, if they had Hall, they could do all sorts of stuff.
But if Matty didn't show that type of game early on, it would be okay.
That's what I mean.
Guess,
totally.
Right? But it's just where you have that in you. Where is that gone?
It's got to be, you've got to bring it every day. It's a level of consistency, because I thought, based on his first couple games, all right, 25 minutes a game, they're going to be okay at that position. Can they find the other 15, and how do they do that? And so that, to the transfer point, and I do think you have to look at, and Michigan's had issues by replacing point guards, and that hasn't always worked. You have to look at your roster and say, I think the 5 spot with Michigan State was a fair spot that you can argue they should have done something. I think everywhere else, though, I would agree with Izzo. Were you going to give up on Pierre Brooks, who wanted to come there? And it's not easy to find somebody who's going to come there and be a backup anyway. And so the 5th-year starter at center, the cachet Michigan State as a program, that would have been perhaps my play.
Carl Milak next. Number 1, MSU is more in the minds of Michigan fans than Ohio State for every sport. Even when they win games, they have nothing to do with MSU. MSU is brought up. 2, when all your sports teams lose all weekend, it really dampers your mood. And 3, gen eds in college are dumb as fuck. Waste of time and money.
I took some decent intro to public speaking where I did my famous Barry Sanders is better than Emmitt Smith speech in 1998 at Lansing Community College.
That shaped your life.
Did. Yeah, fall of 97, actually. Either way, both guys in their prime. I made good points. I've never made a better argument than I have at that point. MSU is more in the minds of UM fans than Ohio State for every sport than they are for Ohio State. There's no question that the rivalry has changed because of Michigan State becoming a threat and the winning that happened over 15 years, and then the fact that Michigan State's and unwillingness to go back to the way it was. And so you have both scenarios. There's no question some of the stuff I see on social media that's sort of this dismissive nature of MSU, this arrogant smugness that fits sort of the quintessential stereotype, is a little too focused on MSU and things that don't involve Michigan, to not say that Michigan State is more in Michigan fans' heads than it ever was before. But that said, Michigan is driving Michigan State absolutely batshit right now. And what's going on with Michigan football and the fact that Michigan State's program is where it is making life absolutely miserable for Michigan State fans.
Eric Larson next. Usually people cheer on their own conferences. Since Alabama isn't in the college football playoff, what percentage of Big Ten fans do you think are cheering against Michigan and maybe Ohio State? I got to think it's over 50%. If my wife, who is an Iowa fan and always has despised Michigan in any indication.
Yeah, so I don't know. What do you think of? Michigan State fans are not
100%.
Yeah, it's
or 98%. There's those people that root for just the state of Michigan.
And you're talking about Big Ten fans, it might be a little different because you're talking about people in Iowa and Minnesota and whatever. But Michigan State fans, there are a few who are diplomatic and don't see the rivalry that way, and there's a percentage of those people. But largely, it's just that relationship right now. There's no way they can root. Ohio State is totally different. I can see Michigan State fans not being bothered by Ohio State because they've seen Ohio State win big things before. It doesn't change any. Ohio State's place is different, and it's not this. Yeah, it's just a totally different dynamic for sure. Let's take another quick break. We'll be right back. Couch in the Rube, presented by Skymint, premium cannabis, and muskox, high-quality flannels.
Wherever you are on your cannabis journey, let Skymint Premium Cannabis be your guide, your friend, and your place. Whether you're curious about cannabis or a seasoned connoisseur, Skymint's knowledgeable staff will help you with a vast selection of products to choose from to fit your needs. Skymint believes access to the best cannabis helps people do good and feel good, so they grow it right here in Michigan, giving you high-quality, locally grown cannabis at highly accessible prices. Visit skymint.com for special offers and location information throughout Michigan, and use the promo code CouchAndRube20 for 20% off your first visit. Skymint Cannabis. You'll love this place. Firekeepers Online Casino and Sportsbook is the site to play. Get your Vegas on right now from your phone, tablet, or laptop. All the hottest slots and tables, plus sports betting featuring in-game wagering. Go with the name you know. Firekeepers. Get your first casino deposit and sports wager matched up to $500 each. Visit firekeeperscasino.com to download the mobile app today. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and located in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117.
Find our live stream, podcast archives, as well as show, affiliate, and sponsorship information at our website, spotlightmediastudios.com.
Couch in the Rube, presented by Skymint, premium cannabis, inspiring us all to just feel better, be better every day of our lives. And as your in-laws start to show up for Christmas, swing by Skymint. Maybe share a gummy with your mother-in-law like I often do, or just get through the weekend with Skymint. Go to skymint.com for location information and daily specials. And our Tuesday night show, also brought to you by our friends at Muskox, high-quality flannels. Go to gomuskox.com. Use the promo code CAW15 for $15 off. Remember, Michigan-based company, cares about the environment, and just a really, really good product. I'm telling you, they'll take care of you, and it feels fantastic. It is really, really. I don't know. I look good. Jason, do you think I look good?
Always.
Okay, now you're lying. All right, back to your hot take.
Matt C. next. Number 1. Izzo hasn't been a good coach since 2015. One trip to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament since. 2. I'm so excited for Xavier Booker to get benched for Carson Cooper next year due to the ball screen defense. 3. Please, MSU Hoops, turn it around. I don't want to see Graham in a man bra.
Maybe I can get Muskox to do like a flannel bra, talk to those guys over there. Be like, hey, just need something that'll hold them up. And
I just can't wait for Upper Deck Jerk Guy to make it his
my God,
Twitter avatar.
They got to win 20. Holy shit. They got to win 20.
What, do you think no one was going to?
I don't know.
You with a bra on? No, people were just going to go,
There have been lots of nights that the video feed hasn't worked. I'm just praying it's one of those nights where things go absolutely haywire here. The idea that Izzo hasn't been a good coach in 2015, one trip to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament since. Well, a couple things. One, if you go through all the coaches in America who have been to the second weekend, Sweet 16, in 2016, 17, 18, 19, there's nothing in 20. So 21, 22, what's 7 years since? More than once? Or 6 years, however many years that was. You can make that argument. There have been some teams that should have done more. There's no question about it. They would have probably done more in 2020, obviously, and gotten to the second weekend. But he's got to, if Michigan State's program is still elite, they haven't been elite in the last couple of years. He's got an elite recruiting class coming in. I think it's going to be joining a really good seasoned roster. But that group's got to kind of do it, and we'll see.
Steve Beckman next. Number 1, the BCS would have been better than the playoff this year. 2, Dan Campbell's clock management will cost the Lions at least one more win this season. And 3, you're not a true soccer fan in Lansing if you didn't watch the USA game at Ozone's Brewhouse Saturday.
I thought about going down there. It's a good soccer bar. It is, but it's not. They're
not a sponsor, so therefore.
Well, no, I didn't want to be. I didn't want to be around people. It was like I wanted to hear the commentary. I didn't want, somebody talking to me.
There's a pass to Henderson, a pass to. What do you need to hear?
There's a lot of analysis. I didn't want Chatty Cathy next to me, so to speak. So I no offense.
You're a columnist. Can I just ask 7 questions?
Yeah.
Chuck next. Number 1, The sky is falling. MSU basketball takes are ridiculous, but not totally off-brand. Circumstance is everything. The team destined for 5 to 10 seed in the NCAA tournament. 2, soccer gets rid of offsides injury hysterics would drastically improve the sport. 3, O-line is everything for MSU. Needs to be focused.
That needs to be, yeah, you're right. It needs to be a focus. It's, and they're not going to get anywhere until that gets fixed. And really, I mean, you go back to 2016 when they were 3-9, their offensive line still wasn't horrible at the end of the year. They still had a lot of remnants of the previous group. But since then, they have not. Last year's offensive line was actually okay, but they have not had an offensive line that was a strength of the team since 2015. And that, I mean, we're getting up on close to a decade of that being a real problem, and it shouldn't be at a place like Michigan State. There's no reason Michigan State shouldn't have good offensive lines.
Jeff Peterson next. Number 1, men's World Cup teams should be made to watch women's soccer, as I did this past weekend, catching a large portion of the NCAA match between UNC and Florida State. Players on both teams, when knocked down, got up and kept playing. None of the crazy histrionics regularly seen in the FIFA World Cup.
Yeah, you don't see the women in the women's game the rolling around as much, which is weird because they still wear the same cleats. Like, I mean, that stuff's painful. Like a lot of the reactions, and I've changed my mind on this a lot. There is embellishment, and they're trying to get the refs' attention, but a lot of the pain is legit, and it's pain because it's the spikes they're playing with. The spikes hit you on the ankle or hit you on the toe, and there's a brief moment of extreme pain, and you're not injured, but it takes a second. It's different than other things.
And there's no blue wall. Get out of here. Rye Dog next. Number 1, with Michigan changing the Big Ten hierarchy and Ohio State looking mortal, I see opportunity for MSU to rise over the next few years. We will always have a chance against Michigan, and if there are questions about Ohio State's future, I think MSU has a chance to steal some of the thunder. 2, USMNT corners and set pieces are ass.
It's the men's national team. Yeah, I got to remember to write that out when it's up there. Yeah, they were not good. It was painful to watch Pulisic be the guy they went to every time because they got to have somebody better than that. I think Dest was probably a better
because he hurt his mule.
Better option than that. That's an interesting concept. The idea that Michigan is a team that Michigan State's closer to, and if they're at the top of the hierarchy, Michigan State has a better chance if something happens to Ohio State's program. And that is true. I think the biggest thing for Michigan State is rising up to be good again itself, and not just to have a good season, but to be a really sound program talent-wise throughout. And then you worry about who's above you and where you are in that pecking order.
Tucker Tarleton next. Number 1, American Fox World Cup commentators are ass. 2, coolest flag in the World Cup, Morocco, in my opinion. It's a July topic. 3, had the football world taken a note from South Park and used pillows for helmets, what would Kerry Crump's charge have been?
A lot less. If you're just hitting somebody over the head with a pillow, that's like, every night.
Am I right?
There you go. I don't mind the commentators, other than what's his name sounds like Mary Carrillo, and I can't stop thinking about that when he's talking. I mean,
poor Mary Carrillo. You're saying
or whatever.
Dude sounds like Mary Carrillo?
Oh, their voices are identical. No, you can do a Google it. They sound identical. It's other. I'm not the only one.
Google?
Why does he sound like Mary Carrillo? Have they ever been in the same room? Whatever.
What a search. Dark Mantonio next. Number 1, I love that the Big Ten football title game is the last one played, and absolutely hate the Big Ten basketball title game is the last one played. 2, I know conferences are different, but USC went 4-8 last year and was one game away from the college football playoff this year. TCU went 5-7 last year, made the college football playoff this year. Why can't MSU do that? This is big-time football. No excuses for rebuilds or losing years. It can be done quickly. Fans shouldn't accept your bad 2023 season.
Yeah, but I think ultimately you've got to be healthy throughout a program, and it takes a while to build a roster. Like, I'm going to tell you right now, Illinois next year, not going to be good. I don't think they're going to be good. And maybe you can do it with the right transfers.
What about using the word rebuild with a college program? Because I agree with him on that.
I mean, I
shouldn't use a rebuild. If you have a transfer portal, incoming freshman, how long do you need?
Well, look, there hasn't been enough. They brought in a lot of defensive guys. The defense hasn't been very good. Yeah. The guys who are in the transfer portal often aren't guys who are stars places who – now, that may change because there are so many guys in the transfer portal at this point that you're able to find some dudes. And the one thing I do not think you can build through the transfer portal is an offensive line. And that So, I mean.
But I feel like we make it sound impossible here. Like at 5-7, turn around to go to the college football playoff. It seems like if it can happen to TCU, why not Michigan State?
Well, because TCU's program was just in a better place. That's what I'm saying.
Sure.
Like, you can go 5-7 and you can be on the cusp.
But I'm talking about the mentality we have.
Well, that's
right?
fair.
Like,
but so next year, Michigan State might go 5-7, and they will be much more on the cusp, perhaps, than they were this year going 5-7. Next year, they are not making that leap. I would be. I mean, unless he runs into like just if he lands like 3 Kenneth Walkers in the transfer portal at different positions, then okay. But
it's possible.
So it is possible, I guess. Yeah.
Jordan Mack next. Number 1, Ohio State and Ryan Day would be better off losing in the semis to Georgia by 50 than losing to Michigan by 1 in the national title game. 2, according to unnamed beat writers, MSU would have went 13-0 for if it were not for scheduling known powerhouse Washington. 3, disregard the fact Michigan and UCLA had to cancel their home-and-home for 2023 and 24, and the fact they play at Texas and Oklahoma in 24-25. Then home first Texas and Oklahoma 26-27. We decided to make the college football playoff our non-conference schedule from now on to appease the Graham Feinbaums of the world. And bonus, your show was enjoyable the majority of the fall. If I had to give it a number, I'd say 7 out of 12 weeks.
Hardy har har. That's the Michigan fan talking about a 5-7 team.
Supposed to be a friend.
Jordan, I appreciate you. To the schedule, I just think what Michigan did with its non-conference schedule. Number 1, it's I don't say unethical. That's too far, but it's
use it.
No, just
do it.
But you just didn't need. It's unnecessary. You shouldn't try to juke the scheduling system. You should never play home games, and you should play.
But if you can get away with it, why wouldn't you?
Because we shouldn't just do what we can get away with in life.
But if it's legal to do, why not? I can't fault someone for doing something that's legal.
And it might have been costly to them, though. They would not have gotten the same consideration that Ohio State got for the playoff had they lost that game at Ohio State because of their non-conference schedule, I believe. So it could have been costly, and it was unnecessary. Like, they had a team that would have beaten Washington. They had a team that didn't need it, and they could have hurt themselves just by having one game they slipped up somewhere. If they had lost that Illinois game, they would have been by winning the Big Ten. But yeah, that's not a great example. You get my point, though.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jordan.
Matt Venny next. Number 1, some teams just have another team's number. Northwestern has MSU's. Jesus.
Freaking boo-booey.
Oh, man. 2, future NIL legislation will require bowl game participation. And 3, Michigan winning the Big Ten and making the playoff 2 years in a row is irrefutable proof that there is no God.
I do think with the bowl game thing that you will see NIL attached to bowl games. I don't think it'll be so much attached that you have to also play in this bowl game to do it all year, though, because
I would say just the college football playoff.
But even that, like if it's one thing for once you get there for there to be NIL money for players who participate, which may be an incentive, but you're not going to have an NIL contract with a company like for example, Muskox is not going to say, okay, we are going to sponsor the offensive line. Or that doesn't make sense. We're going to sponsor the running back or quarterback, but part of the deal is they have to play in a bowl game no matter what it is, because if that player gets hurt in that bowl game for whatever you were paying them for an NIL deal, you're kind of on the hook. You're the jacket. Like, nobody's going to do it in that. So I don't think it'll be a forced sort of part of the contract.
But why are you not playing in the college football playoff?
No, I'm talking about the playoff.
I'm talking about the Ohio State. Who the wide receiver?
Oh,
was it Harrison?
He's still, it's in Jigba. He's still hurt. He's still hurt. He basically said the doctors told him he shouldn't play.
Oh,
that was a medical.
I thought he was choosing not to.
No, he was told that he would not be ready to play, and so I guess that he's getting rid of the. I don't know. It's a little. Yeah, his messaging was a little convoluted, but I think it's completely medical.
Kevin from Rochester Hills next. Number 1, loss to Northwestern will cost MSU a NCAA tourney bid. 2, the Lions look like a playoff team, thanks to Goff. Oh, whatever. 3, Washtenaw prosecutor is more corrupt than FIFA and Sam Bankman-Fried combined. Fried? Nerd?
The thanks to Goff look like a playoff team. They did look like a playoff team last week. That was impressive.
Of course they did.
When you couldn't watch. You've been waiting forever for them to look like a playoff team.
I just wanted a dominating victory.
Yeah.
And it happened.
And you weren't. Did you get to watch the replay yet or anything?
No.
Yeah.
No, I didn't get to watch much sports. But
Sorry. Your voice got very quiet there. I was worried you were going to cry.
DBM. Number 1, Michigan fans in Columbus claiming it wasn't hostile is hilarious. Seems like when they lost the game for 15 years, it was described as D-Day. 2, a new era in the Big Ten West. R.I.P. Fitzgerald, Fleck, and Brom. 3, Couch loves the lack of talent narrative. This team had the talent to win 8 games this year. And bonus. The journalistic code is strong. Hypocrisy on full display with the blue wall and Couch still falling on the sword of his brothers. Sad stuff.
I think they've been. I mean, they were all over it today. I mean, they've been. I've seen Detroit News and them live stories. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Well, why wouldn't they do it today? You're giving them credit for doing it today.
Well, what am I?
I mean, what shouldn't they be the ones breaking that story?
Well, M Live did, and they were right after it. Yeah, Detroit News. M Live is a statewide news organization. It's every bit.
I know. I'm not going to fight you.
Yeah,
there's a blue wall, and you know it.
The lack of talent narrative. There is a lack. I mean, it's not a great roster. It's just not right now.
I know, but Michigan State fans hear that, and then they hear about the injuries happen. The foot injuries on the basketball team happen to everyone, and it just seems like you just got to take it. You can't say.
I get why there's frustration. I mean, I get it. And it would be, if like Michigan's football team was 4-8, it would be so much easier to take.
Sports Guy 1919. People complaining about the college football playoff selection don't understand whether they think a team, Ohio State, is deserving or not. They have to choose 4 teams. Someone has to fill that spot. Ohio State was the obvious choice based on resume.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think look, there's an argument that you didn't need another data point, right? That the idea that USC had to play an extra game that made them lose a game that Ohio State didn't have to play. Like if Ohio State had to play somebody after losing to Michigan, they might have lost too. But you lost to the same team, and the way you lost, and your star quarterback got hurt. Like, there was just no way it was USC after that performance.
Chris Eastlick next. Number 1, the Heisman Trophy is no longer worth paying attention to after this year's finalist. 2, Michael Penix is more deserving than Stetson Bennett if it's most outstanding player, and I like Stetson Bennett. 3, TCU is the 4th best team. They should be slotted number 4. Glad they are in, though.
Yeah, I mean, there is an argument. I am somebody who believes more in what's deserved as opposed to best, because I think best is hard to prove. We think we know best, but often we don't. People thought Ohio State shouldn't be in it in 2014, and they won the whole thing. We often don't know what actually is best. We don't have a clue. And so, to me, a team that was who TCU was all year was more deserving, arguably, than what Ohio State was, and I'm okay with that being the 3 seed.
Mr. Benjen. Number 1, Joey Hauser's 3 and 1 fouls in the last minute of the tight games should keep him on the pine late when MSU is leading. 2, Voodoo Donuts is Vincent Smith to Groovy Donuts Jadeveon Clowney. 3, Jason's finally off the naughty list for being a revolving door guest at the local jailhouse.
What's that about?
Oh, it didn't. The door did not revolve. When I was out, I was never coming back. It was exactly what I needed at that time in my life.
You'd done your bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but it was traffic things that I didn't pay. So it was like I wasn't in jail. It was just like a holding cell.
Yeah, it wasn't.
So you paid and all that.
Yeah. 72 days of it, though.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that changed my life, though. I'm telling you, for the better. Senior Riverboat Tubin next. I'll give you something new to munch on. Expecting some Hoff for this segment. Barry Bonds will be voted into the Hall of Fame next year, as it is his last year on the Today's Game ballot. The Hall will come around and vote in a crop of steroid era, but deserving players getting into Cooperstown.
I don't know if I need Hoff for this. Like I don't mind Barry Bonds getting in. I don't have. I mean, I know that. I think
let them all in.
That should be part of their story. It should be written that they were part of this era. That there were a lot of questions, but
people know,
right? And they're part of the history of the game. And that was a whole era. And there are probably a lot of people who are in that we didn't know took steroids too. So like, I'm okay. Everybody knows.
July topic.
Yeah. Pete Rose Hall of Fame.
Gideon W. next. We, the Houston Texans, just lost to the Browns and their massage team when they didn't even score an offensive TD. Sports are ass. We're going to draft Bryce Young and waste him. Everything is ass. Bonus. Oh, God, is this what it feels like to be a Lions fan?
Bingo, man. This is where it is. And meanwhile, the Lions just had the dominant game, and Jason missed it. That's when there's no God. That's crap.
At least you got a better deal for your guy, I guess, right? I don't know. The Texans have a little upside, but yeah, you have to go a longer time of.
And the Texans Texans cutting bait with Deshaun Watson was a good move. Like that's a win.
You think
Big
so?
Win. You don't think so?
Jay Riemenschneider next. Number 1, Michigan basketball frustrates me to no end. Yes, they just lost a close game to the Final Four hopefuls, and 1 minute I'm thinking, okay, this team can play with the best, may take a run at the conference title and a 6th straight Sweet 16. You're just saying this all to yourself, huh? Conference title and a 6th straight Sweet 16 and more. And the next minute I'm like, this won't even make the NIT. 2. Don't know the legal particulars, but someone can be a fanboy like a Washtenaw prosecutor and still do their job in a fair, truthful, and discretionary, lawful manner. I think people who are talking up this fandom are the same ones who would be biased themselves. And 3, Graham said, and I quote, "Don't get beat by a white guy making threes. Punch him." Lots of white-on-white racism and assault from you, Graham, over the years.
There's no question about it. There's no doubt about it.
Graham Couch, the honky killer.
Yeah, no. When it comes to stereotypes on a basketball court, I am unabashedly. I am not gonna. Yeah, I mean,
You root for just white guys?
No, hell no. But I'm saying I would build my scouting report against generalizations.
But you can say though, it is nice to see a white guy playing good basketball, right? You do
lots of white guys play good basketball.
I know, but when I see a white guy hooping that has some skill, it's like hell yeah.
Yeah,
it's exciting.
You've seen me on the court. That's why.
I have not seen you. I saw one play that Charbonneau tweeted out with you.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's not great. The point about the prosecutor though, and I think it is very possible that you can do your job and be a fan of a team, and I've heard from people who know him and think that he's turned this over to his staff most likely, and that he is a fair person who cares about this stuff. And so it is true that I don't know him, and I don't have any reason not to. That's why you can't have certain optics in your, like, if you've got that job, it's not just the Go Blue. There's a history of some of the different tweets. Like it's not just Go Blue on the Twitter account. Like you just don't need that appearance in that job. That's a very important job. You don't need the appearance of bias in a rivalry that's that hot. That's really the issue. It's not that it can't be done in a fair, truthful, and discretionary, lawful manner.
Tyrone Couch, number 1, MSU transfer portal will be exciting. 2, basketball is still not back in my soul. 3, I get why people online call Michigan scum. What a hypocritical joke of a program. Bonus, Horst is gone, so are his personal fouls. That's why my students bake baby Jesus a cake on Christmas Eve. That got Horst to leave you? Students made cake?
I do think Michigan State will. It was weird. Somebody tweeted something about, it was a funny tweet. Horse, I maybe quote tweeted Horse leaving, and somebody commented that he was flagged for his announcement or something. His announcement was flagged. And the only person to like that comment from one of our readers or listeners was Xavier Henderson.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm sure there was some other frustration on the team sometimes with his fouls.
Hans Jurgent, number 1, I hate sports. 2, Graham abandoned me when I was defending soccer to the Twitter mob. And 3, we can't rebound unless Sissoko is in there.
Yeah, and Sissoko hasn't even been that great on the rebounds, and so I don't think that's been there. And I apologize, Hans. Like I sort of missed it, and then I saw your retort, like saying you abandoned me, and I did not realize that you
had a Twitter mob going after you.
No, like he was. But he was talking about, he was defending soccer to the masses, and I did appreciate that. And all of a sudden, I did leave him in that moment. I apologize, Hans.
Jake Hawkins next. Number 1, Fox Sports has officially joined ESPN in showing complete utter bias towards MSU during the Big Ten championship when going through past game MVPs. Not one time did they mention Connor Cook. God help us if Gus and Joel wind up covering MSU again, Big Ten title game or not. 2, how old is Boo Buie? Seriously, why is he still playing? I need to check his birth certificate to see if he's still eligible. 3, I read your tweet following Team USA's loss to the Netherlands in the World Cup. Do you really honestly think that soccer is the future sport in America? How would you try and convince a kid to play soccer rather than football and basketball on a lower college division level?
I would just tell a kid whose dad is 5'8" and his mother's 5'2" that you may not be in the NBA. Like, maybe try something else. But no, I would just introduce it. Make sure kids. One thing we do not do well in this country is make sure kids who aren't of great means are introduced to the sport and see if they love it. But
all kids play soccer when they're younger, like
really little. But it's the organized stuff. The kids everybody acts like, oh, you need all this coaching. You do, but in Brazil and other places, they go on the street and they just play. You need kids like when we were growing up. You went on the street and what sport did you play? You need that to be a little more soccer prevalent with all sorts of kids.
Tackle football on the pavement.
And then you do need the coaching. Yeah, we did do that too. We were not
dumb.
We were not bright. Like when I say American kids are dumb, I was one of those kids. I mean, we used to. Oh, goodness gracious!
Ate your boogers.
To the Boo Booey point, he could actually come back next year. He is he's a fourth-year senior, and he has his COVID year. So, like, when he first scored 26 or 30 against MSU, he was a true freshman, and then he did it again as a sophomore. So it just feels like he's been around forever because he's been beating MSU forever.
Can't blame him.
But if he wanted to play another year, he could do it. Maybe a transfer portal. Michigan State's got a good class; they don't need him. But we'll see if he's at
bench him
at Northwestern next year.
Upper Deck Jerk Guy. Number 1, a good excuse is still an excuse. 2, they're going to have to build a press area higher up in Breslin to sell more floor seats. And last one, I can't believe I'm getting more joy from the Lions and the Spartans right now.
Yeah, they've already sold some floor seats. We'll see how long the few of us can remain there on the court at Breslin. It's been an awesome run. Very few places have that, so I don't take it for granted. There are a lot of good things about covering MSU. Open locker room, lots of great stuff. And I think the good excuse is still an excuse. He's talking about Izzo, and they're right. All this stuff is an excuse, but it's some of it's a little bit reality now just because of the severity of the injuries. And we'll see if they get those guys back. I think if Aiken stays healthy and they get Hall back and he stays healthy, I still think this is a really good team. And we saw elements of that, remnants of it at the beginning of the season, and that's who they can become. We are going to take one more break. We are done with your hot takes. We appreciate all of you. I mean, fantastic stuff. You make our show. We're going to come back. We're going to pick the games this week with the great Harry Gagnon. Couch in the Rube, presented by Skymint Premium Cannabis and Muskox. I made it this far without fucking it up. Muskox, high-quality flannels. We'll fix it in post.
Hopcat exists at the intersection of great beer and delicious food, complemented by music, art, community, and comfort. Home to a best-in-class beer experience served by craft beer experts. Guests can expect a casual, inviting local gathering place with some of the best damn burgers and fries you'll find in Michigan. Hopcat is proud to be an official sponsor of Peyton Thorne. Show your Spartan pride by ordering the iconic Peyton Thorne burger, created by the man himself. There is no better place to watch any Michigan State game other than the 50-yard line at Spartan Stadium. Stop by any of our locations: East Lansing, Detroit, Grand Rapids, Ann Arbor, Kalamazoo, and Holland. To plan your next trip to Hopcat, visit hopcat.com. Ever wondered just how comfortable you can be? Find out with Muskox high-quality flannels. Muskox is a Detroit-based company that creates durable comfort that'll last a lifetime. Muskox flannels are thoughtfully designed with 100% cotton that is ethically sourced and double brushed for softness. This will be the softest flannel you'll ever buy, guaranteed. For every $100 purchase, Muskox will donate $10 to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center. Get comfortable this fall and winter with Muskox flannels. Learn more or order yours today at gomuskox.com.
When it's your moment, that once-in-a-lifetime moment, you don't just want jewelry. You can get that anywhere. You want a memory that will go down in history, your moment. We're metalware, crafted with exquisite style, quality, and love, so your present will be stunning every time you look at it, every time someone notices it, and they will notice. We've devoted our lives to this art, and we're proud to share it with you. The gift you want to give is here.
Metalware Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, Portage, and Brighton.
Firekeepers Online Casino and Sportsbook is the site to play. Get your Vegas on right now from your phone, tablet, or laptop. All the hottest slots and tables, plus sports betting featuring in-game wagering. Download the app at firekeeperscasino.com. Go with the name you know. Firekeepers. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and located in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117. Wherever you are on your cannabis journey, let Sky Mint Premium Cannabis be your guide, your friend, and your place. Whether you're curious about cannabis or a seasoned connoisseur, Sky Mint's knowledgeable staff will help you with a vast selection of products to choose from to fit your needs. Sky Mint believes access to the best cannabis helps people do good and feel good, so they grow it right here in Michigan, giving you high-quality, locally grown cannabis at highly accessible prices. Visit skymint.com for special offers and location information throughout Michigan, and use the promo code CouchAndRube20 for 20% off your first visit. Sky Mint Cannabis. You'll love this place.
Find our live stream, podcast archives, as well as show, affiliate, and sponsorship information at our website, spotlightmediastudios.com.
Couch in the Roof, presented by Skymint Premium Cannabis, and our Tuesday night show brought to you by our friends at Muskox High Quality Flannels. It is time to pick the games now, presented by Firekeepers Casino and the iCasino and Sportsbook app. Download the apps today. Bet the games with us. And to do that, we have the great Harry Gagnon from Against All Odds with Cousin Sal, Best Bet Corner, and ExtraPoints.com. Harry, thanks for being flexible with us tonight. It's a sad moment when we don't have college football games on a Saturday. I got to say, it's a little.
But we have soccer.
We do have soccer.
Yay.
Yeah. We got soccer.
Soccer is. I've taken a bath in soccer, by the way. Spain has kicked my ass all over the place. I think I'm just about
Sorry to hear that.
Just about done with it. Yeah.
I mean, I just don't, Graham. I just don't like a shootout, and you're the favorite, and you lose the shootout 3-0. How do you lose a shootout 3-0?
Yeah, it was bad. But I'd already lost by then because they hadn't won in regulation time, right? So the money line bets were awful. And then they pissed me off. Like, I will never visit Spain as a country. I just can't do it. I do like. There's some things I like. I like Morocco, some value at plus 451 on the money line. Still like France at like plus 350, plus 370 to win the whole thing. Think there's some value there, but there's not a lot of value left, and it's just good soccer. And I don't know if there's anything to really win. But there are some good NFL games this weekend to bet, and your Vikings against our Lions, and the Vikings underdogs which is pretty incredible to think the Vikings. If you just look at the records of these two teams, it's amazing. It's one of those lines that you go, huh? And usually you say, I don't know, I can't take the Lions here because I'm just too beaten down by the last 30 years of my life. But I don't think the Vikings are that good either. But to me, give me the Vikings plus 2.5 on the road against Detroit. I just have a bad feeling. Jason, where are you?
Now, we talked about Jeff Heward saying it was the most dominant football game he's seen the Lions play in his lifetime, Harry. And guess what? I was in Nashville, and I missed it. So I'm taking the Vikings because I'm going to watch this game, and I guarantee you they're going to lose. So who you got?
Look, you guys know they are my Vikings, right? I've been on them since day one of the regular season. But this Detroit team, Goff is playing good. Detroit's playing good, real good. I mean, they're putting up that 31 points in 3 of the last 4 weeks. Minnesota is 4-0 against Detroit in their last 4, but they have won those games, the Vikings, by a grand total of 10 points in their last 4 wins against Detroit. I'm rolling with the hot team, the real hot team. I know Vikings are hot, but I think right now the Lions are even hotter. I'm rolling with Detroit, boys.
I mean, I'm saying that I think the Lions win, but I know what's going to happen because I'm a Lions fan. And now that I'm watching, they're going to lose.
Yeah.
Embarrassing fashion.
I hope you're right. If they win, Harry, it becomes a playoff watch around here, and that gets really interesting. Right.
Well, you know, on Against All Odds today, guys, when we did our show, Sal asked us, me and the guys, who we thought would get the 7th seed in the AFC and the NFC as of right now. And I know they would definitely need a few things to happen, obviously, but my 7th seed in the NFC was Detroit.
Oh, this world would explode around here. It would be just.
They are playing fantastic ball and offense. I mean, what a mix of run for the first time in ages, really, and pass. And Goff has been confident. I like this team. It's fun.
Man, they're just going to break. They're going to break some hearts. I can feel it. All right, Jets plus 9 at Bills. This is interesting because the Jets are a really good team, and I understand the Bills are, among the Super Bowl favorites. But you give me 9.5 points for the Jets right now. They're playing a lot of close games. I'm all over the Jets here. Jason, where are you?
Yeah, I'm not sure what's the weather is going to be like there, but Mike White on the road, I understand. But man, 9 and a hook, that's a lot of wood there, Harry. Give me the Jets. I like it a lot, actually. What do you got?
Bills a couple extra days off to prepare. Jets lost that tough one in Minnesota last week. They've got a tough schedule coming up too. New York does. I think it's too much for the Bills here. I like their offense again. I'm going Buffalo.
It's against us on all this stuff. It always makes me nervous when Harry's on the other side. Eagles -7 against the Giants. And the Giants, I mean, it come back down a little bit to earth, although I thought they put up a decent fight against the Cowboys. I thought that could get away from them. And then last week, the Commanders with a tie that could be interesting for the Lions' playoff chances with that tie with the anyway, because you're not going to wind up with a tie with in other words, the tiebreaker with the Lions will be irrelevant because they're going to have an actual tie on their schedule. Eagles are playing really, really well. That's a lot of points on the road. I wouldn't bet this game to save my life, but I'm going to grin and bear it and take the Giants. Jason, where are you?
Here's what you need. The Giants, Daniel Jones to not turn over the ball. Give me that 7 and the Giants, Harry, at home. What you got?
Boy, Eagles looked very impressive last week against the Titans. And the Giants, 1-3-1, guys, in their last 5. Only one of those games they scored more than 20. Going with the Eagles here.
Yeah.
Going with the Eagles.
Let's see if this winds up being a perfect Harry against us as we get down here. Okay, so
I took the Giants.
Yeah, he took the Eagles.
All right.
I took the Giants too. Houston, this is a huge line. That's why I wanted this in here. Houston plus 16.5. I can't even remember the last time a 16.5 point line in an NFL game. I know Houston's awful. 16.5 at the Cowboys. Here's the thing. I like the Cowboys in this. Like, I understand that that's a tough line to cover, and a lot of money will be on the Cowboys, America's team. If it got over 17, I'd be a little nervous about it. I think Houston's pretty bad. I think the Cowboys win, and I think this game gets away from Houston in the second half. Give me the Cowboys. Jason, where are you?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with what I've been doing all season and just taking the points when they've gone over double digits. Give me the 17. I'm not excited about it, but give me the 17. What you got, Harry?
Well, I just think that if you were going to take Houston at any time during the season, it would have been last week, maybe against Cleveland with Watson back. Maybe the team would rally here, and have play one solid game. This is special. You can't. I mean, they can't rely on them after what we saw. The pick sixes, the defense, the special teams touchdowns they gave up, and Dallas. What did they score? 33 points in the fourth against the Colts. That was insane. I can't see Houston. Dallas' defense is fantastic. Parsons is great. I don't see Houston getting more than 10 points here. I think Dallas covers with ease.
Interesting game. Final game here. Kansas City -9 at Denver. And it's interesting in this standpoint. One, the Lions actually need Denver to win because they need Denver to finish higher in the standings than L.A. for draft purposes. But more than that, Denver's got a decent defense, but zero offense. They're coming off a horrible loss, a game they should have won on the road at the Ravens. I don't like Kansas. How does Denver score enough points to stay within 10 of Kansas City? I don't see how. Now, their defense is phenomenal, so maybe I'm not seeing anything. It's a lot of points in the NFL on the road, but give me the Chiefs. Jason, where are you?
Well, like you mentioned, it's at home, and their defense is good, and they do. I know Russell Wilson has been asked, but 9 is just too heavy for me. Some books have it at 9.5. I'm taking the points. What do you got, Harry?
Yeah, I'm going to take the points too. I lean on Harrison Butker if you need a kicker for fantasy because Kansas City will be able to move the ball, but Denver in the red zone. They're number 1 in the NFL in red zone defense. I think they'll get to the red zone. They'll stop Kansas City. A lot of field goals. I'm going to take the points with Denver too.
All right, so that's Harry's not completely against this. We each got one with Harry, which makes me feel a little bit better. Are there any games, anything else I'm missing, Harry, this weekend, or anything that you really like?
On Thursday night, I am leaning towards. I know the Rams did cover against Seattle last week, but this Raiders team is exciting all of a sudden. They've won 3 in a row. Josh Jacobs' numbers are through the roof. The last 4 games, he's got He's got his last 3 games, guys. He's got almost 600 yards of offense. Adams had a big game last week. Crosby's doing it all for them on defense. I like the Raiders to roll the Rams here, and they're a team that, when, like I said, we discussed who was the 7th seed in the, like I said, Detroit in the NFC, in the AFC. I leaned and I made a case for the Raiders to make the 7th seed. I don't like what the Chargers are doing lately, just 2-4 in the last 6. I think that's the game here. I think they roll the Rams.
I'm on it. We need a reason for the Thursday night game.
If they're talking about Baker Mayfield, who they just signed today, talking about him playing Thursday, I like it.
I hope he does, because you guys seen a couple of weeks ago, he was on the team for just the smallest of time, and he's not even playing in the game. The game they won, he's headbutting his offensive lineman with no helmet on when they have helmets on, and now he's not even on the team anymore. Clueless.
Jason, I'll figure out how to get that streamed on this TV here. So we're doing the Groovy Donut Twitter questions on Thursday. You and I can be watching our bet, our game. Harry, you are a beautiful man. We appreciate your flexibility. Look forward to chatting next week.
Thanks, Harry.
Sounds great, guys. Take care.
It's the great Harry Gagnon from Against All Odds with Cousin Sal, bestbetcorner.com and extrapoints.com. We appreciate all of you listening. We appreciate SkyMint. And if you're still listening, chances are you're really familiar with SkyMint. We appreciate Muskox. Go to gomuskox.com, GOMUSKOX.com. Check out Muskox Flannels. Learn their story a little bit. And when you make your purchase, use the promo code CAW15 for $15 off. We appreciate Hopcat as well and Midtown Brewing Company. Appreciate all of you. We'll be back Thursday night.